Chapter 1242. The group of people looked at Lin Xian gratefully. Without the treasures that Lin Xian had given them, they would not have been able to improve their cultivation so much in such a short time. Brother Xian, we will never forget your kindness. As long as there's anything you need us to do, just say the word. We'll do anything. The group of people swore their loyalty. Lin Xian waved his hand. Don't be like this. We're all brothers. Of course we'll share our blessings. As long as you don't betray me, or the Dragon Sword Pavilion, we'll be brothers for life. As Lin Xian was speaking, two ear-piercing sounds came from afar. Soon, two figures landed on the ground like lightning. It's them. When Wang Li and the others saw that it was Dugu Outyan and Li Yunfei, they immediately became nervous. After all, they were the top geniuses in the academy. Why are you two here? Lin Xian was also very surprised. Nothing, we just wanted to spar with you. Dugu Outyan did not beat around the bush, and directly stated the purpose of his visit. Immediately, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked ahead. He realized that the other party's cultivation had become stronger. On the other side, Li Yunfei's cultivation had also reached the 7th level of the Honorable Realm. It seemed that their cultivation had increased again. No wonder they wanted to spar with him. Alright, it's time to change the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard. Lin Xian stood up. He was still ranked 3rd on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard, but his strength had already surpassed Dugu Outyan and the others. Now he could use this opportunity to advance to 1st place. Junior brother Meng, it seems that you're late. Someone made a move before you. At that moment, another voice was heard. Two more figures descended from the sky. They were two young men. One of them was Meng Tian, and the other was a handsome young man who was standing with a smile. Greetings, senior brother Meng Tian, the group shouted. Meng Tian nodded, then pointed at the young man beside him and said, This is Zhuo Donglai, senior brother Zhuo. Greetings, senior brother Zhuo. The crowd shouted, then they were shocked. Could this be the genius who was ranked 2nd on the previous Mystic Sovereign leaderboard? They were shocked. They didn't expect that not only had Meng Tian come, but he had also brought someone even more powerful. Zhuo Donglai had been ranked 2nd on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard. He had stayed in the punishment hall after graduation. Furthermore, he was even more powerful. He had reached the 8th heavenly layer of Exalted a long time ago. It could be said that he was even more powerful than them. No one expected that such a powerful person would actually come here. Senior brothers, why are you here? Lin Xian asked. It's nothing. I just want to spar with you. Senior brother Zhuo is just here to watch the show. Meng Tian explained his intentions. What, sparring with older brother Xian again? Everyone was stunned. If Dugu Outyan and Li Yunfei were here to spar, it would be normal. After all, everyone's strength was about the same. They would have to compete to see who was 1st on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard. However, Meng Tian and Zhuo Donglai were different. After all, the two of them had graduated and were no longer disciples of the college. They would not compete with Lin Xian for the sake of ranking on the Mystic Honorable Board. Furthermore, the two of them were both 8th heavenly layer exalted. They could be said to be incomparably powerful. Even the older generation would admit that they were not as powerful as them. Although Lin Xian and Dugu Outyan were peerless geniuses, they were still young and were only 7th heavenly layer exalted. They were no match for them at all. Of course, Wang Li and the rest did not know Lin Xian's current strength. They also did not know about Lin Xian's performance in Pine Palace. That was why they were so confused. Although Meng Tian and the rest had entered the remote sky secret realm, they were basically in another area and were not with Lin Xian. Therefore, they were not very clear about Lin Xian's combat strength. Therefore, these people did not know about Lin Xian's true strength. Furthermore, they did not think that Lin Xian had the combat strength of an 8th heavenly layer exalted. After all, the further one progressed, the harder it was to fight someone of a higher level. However, Lin Xian smiled faintly and said, If that's the case, please wait for a moment, senior brother Meng. Let's spar after Dugu and I are done. Alright. Meng Tian nodded and retreated to the side. Zhuo Donglai was also very interested. In his opinion, Dugu Outyan and Lin Xian's strength were about the same. It should be a fierce battle between the two of them. This way, he could observe more clearly what was so special about Lin Xian. Seeing this, Li Yunfei and the other disciples of the Dragon Sword Pavilion also retreated to the side to give them enough space. Everyone held their breaths and waited patiently. The disciples of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were also excited. After all, both of them were top geniuses. This kind of battle was not common. Since that's the case, I won't hold back. Dugu Outyin drew his sword and quickly circulated his spiritual energy. Suddenly, the long sword shone brightly. Dugu 9 swords. The moment he attacked, it was an extremely fierce killing move. 9 rays of sword chi shot out like rainbows. The long sword slashed across the void. At the side, Zhuo Donglai smiled and said, Dugu Outyin is very cautious. He used his ultimate skill right from the start. Good. Let's see what Lin Xian is going to do. Meng Tian nodded slightly. Dugu Aoshan's sword was not bad. It already had an invincible aura. Not many 7th level honorables could take it. Wang Li and the others were also shocked. They had heard of the Dugu 9 swords. It was Dugu Aoshan's famous ultimate skill. He was a very powerful killer. They did not expect him to use it right from the start. At that moment, they could not help but worry about Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian looked calm. There was not a trace of nervousness. His palm moved and quickly formed a strange seal. Then he slowly pressed it forward. Buzz! Strong winds blew and the void trembled. Endless spiritual energy formed a huge body and roared in all directions. It was a ferocious beast. It looked like a cow, but its body was full of spikes. Its whole body emitted a powerful aura. As soon as the ferocious beast appeared, it created a terrifying aura and rushed toward the 9 rays of sword chi. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. Even Meng Tian and Zhuo Donglai were surprised. If I'm not wrong, this should be the 9 changes of the firmament from the True Spirit Palace. This should be the Qiong Qi transformation, Meng Tian said. I didn't expect him to exchange for the 9 changes of the firmament. Yes, not only did he exchange it, but he also cultivated it. Look at how powerful the Qiong Qi's shadow is. I'm afraid a 7th level honorable will not be able to resist it. Zhuo Donglai was also very surprised. He did not expect Lin Xian to have mastered the 9 changes of the firmament. What a magical kid! Looks like Dugu Outyin is going to be unlucky. As expected, the huge Qiong Qi in the sky flew past and immediately blasted the 9 rays of sword chi away. Then it quickly rushed toward Dugu Outyin. Dugu Aoshan's pupil shrank. He did not expect Lin Xian to have such a strange technique. It could actually break his Dugu 9 swords in an instant. This surprised him. However, he was after all a top genius. Although he missed, he would not be defeated. Chapter 1243. Telepathic Sword Technique. After witnessing Lin Xian's strength, Dugu Outyin did not hesitate and executed a powerful sword technique. This was also an earth-grade sword technique that he had exchanged from the True Spirit Palace. It was called the telepathic sword technique. The power of this sword technique was boundless. Although he had just obtained it and had yet to reach the small success stage, the power of an earth-grade sword technique was not to be underestimated. As expected, the moment the telepathic sword technique was executed, sword light filled the sky and quickly blocked Qiongqi. Seeing this scene, Dugu Outyin secretly heaved a sigh of relief. On the other hand, Lin Xian exclaimed softly. He did not expect Dugu Outyin to have an earth-grade sword technique. However, he did not care. In the next moment, his hand seals slowly changed, and he shouted in a low voice. Qiongqi transformation sky-shaking roar. Following his hand seals, the huge phantom of Qiongqi in the void above also moved quickly. Although it was an illusion, the 9 celestial transformations was incomparably mysterious. The Qiongqi that was executed at this moment was like a real peerless beast. It roared towards the sky, as if it was executing a supreme skill. As expected, in the next moment, the spiritual energy in the sky shook, and a materialized sound wave quickly surged forward. This sound wave was blue like the sea. It was incomparably terrifying, and contained a terrifying power. If one was hit by this sound wave, even an 8th level venerable would not be able to withstand it. This sound wave was too terrifying. So even if Dugu Outyin had the telepathic sword technique, he could not resist it. The sword light that filled the sky disappeared and Dugu Outyin kept retreating. Fortunately, this was just an ordinary spar, and Lin Xian did not kill him. So Dugu Outyin was not injured. However, the blood in his body was also surging, and he could not mobilize his spiritual energy for a short period of time. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. Their mouths were wide open in disbelief. 2 moves, just 2 moves and Dugu Outyin was defeated. That was Dugu Outyin. He was the top genius among the disciples of the Immortal Martial Academy, but he was defeated just like that. For a moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian in shock. Impossible, how is this possible? This brat's strength has increased to such a level. At the side, Li Yunfei was panicking. Before he came, he was still guessing whether Lin Xian or Dugu Outyin would win. Because in his opinion, the battle between the two of them would definitely be a battle between a dragon and a tiger, and it would be difficult to determine the victor. However, he did not expect that the situation would be one-sided. In 2 moves, Dugu Outyin was defeated. He found it hard to believe for a moment. The surrounding disciples of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were even more excited. They clenched their fists, and their faces were filled with ecstasy. Older brother Xian defeated Dugu Outyin in 2 moves? It can't be, this is too shocking, isn't it? Is older brother Xian already so powerful? Older brother Xian is mighty and domineering. The group was excited. In the distance, Meng Tian and Zhuo Donglai were also shocked. They had not expected such a thing to happen. His improvement was indeed godly. Meng Tian's voice was grave. Zhuo Donglai was shocked. No wonder you thought so highly of this little boy. He was so mysterious, and his fighting abilities were so strong. His battle prowess was probably close to that of the 8th heavenly layer venerable realm. The two of them quickly conversed, and their understanding of Lin Xian increased once again. On the stage, Dugu Outyin was struggling to stabilize the blood in his body. Until now his mind was still blank. This was because he could not accept the current situation. 2 moves, only 2 moves. He was still full of confidence, and thought that he would be able to defeat Lin Xian. However, he did not expect that Lin Xian would defeat him in 2 moves. Thinking of this, his body started to tremble. In the end, he sighed and said with a desolate expression, "I lost. Thank you for letting me win." Lin Xian said indifferently, but his heart was filled with ecstasy. The 9 changes of the firmament was indeed powerful. He had only used the first change, the Qiongqi transformation, and defeated Dugu Outyin in 2 moves. This was really out of his expectations. At the same time, in the Immortal Martial Academy, the rankings on the black stone tablet changed again. Lin Xian, who was originally ranked 3rd, suddenly shone brightly like the sun. He rose quickly and finally jumped to the first position. His name also turned purplish gold. Dugo Outyin, who was originally ranked first, dropped to second place. After him, Li Yunfei and the others dropped one place. Big news, shocking news. Look, there are changes on the Mystic Sovereign ranking. Countless disciples went crazy. Isn't it normal for there to be changes? After all, many experts have improved a lot in the remote sky secret realm. No, it's Lin Xian and Dugo Outyin. Lin Xian's name has jumped to first place. What? You mean Dugo Outyin lost? Everyone was shocked. Although they did not see the battle between Lin Xian and Dugo Outyin with their own eyes, the change in the names had already explained the result. That was Dugo Outyin. He had always been the top genius in the academy, and was an existence that countless people looked up to. However, he had been defeated. Moreover, he was not defeated by his strong opponent Li Yunfei, but by a new student who had just entered the academy for a year. He had successfully reached first place on the Mystic Sovereign ranking after just 1 year of entering the academy. This result had never happened before. It could be said that Lin Xian had created a miracle. It can't be. Didn't Dugu Aoshan's strength increase greatly after entering the remote sky secret realm? Yeah, I remember that he has already reached the 7th heaven honorable realm. Could it be that he can't defeat Lin Xian with such strength? Oh my god, Lin Xian is too scary. How old is he? He's only 20 years old, but he's already a 7th heaven honorable realm. Moreover, his combat strength is so strong. I'm afraid his future is limitless. On this day, the entire Immortal Martial Academy went crazy. However, they did not know that something even crazier was about to happen in Lin Xian's courtyard. Dugo Outyin had already recovered from his initial shock. He looked disappointed and retreated to the side. That was because there was still one more battle. Senior brother Meng, please. Meng Tian nodded. Then his figure flashed and he entered the arena. In the next moment, the aura in his body exploded. Junior brother Lin, let me see how much you've grown. Meng Tian's voice was steady. Then the aura of an 8th heaven honorable realm exploded. When they felt the aura, everyone's body stiffened. The aura was too terrifying. Even Dugo Outyin and Li Yunfei could not withstand it. There were only 2 people who were not affected. They were Zhuo Donglai and Lin Xian. Zhuo Donglai was an 8th heaven honorable realm. His strength was above Meng Tian's. Therefore, he was not affected at all. However, the other person caused everyone to be extremely shocked. That was Lin Xian. Although he was only a 7th heaven honorable realm cultivator, he was not afraid of the aura of an 8th heaven honorable realm cultivator. This kid is indeed strange. He can actually ignore the aura of an 8th heaven honorable realm cultivator. Zhuo Donglai squinted his eyes. Meng Tian let out a low roar and quickly attacked. 8 Extreme Divine Fist. Meng Tian's hair fluttered in the wind. He looked like a divine demon as his battle-intent soared. Chapter 1244. 8 Divine Fist. Meng Tian's hair fluttered in the wind. He looked like a divine demon as his battle-intent soared. As soon as he attacked, he displayed a powerful fist technique. Suddenly, the entire space shook as if it would collapse at any time. Looking at the terrifying scene, Lin Xian quickly formed a seal with his palms. Then Qiongqi's figure appeared in the sky again. The huge figure was as majestic as a mountain. Its aura was majestic and terrifying. Qiongqi walked forward step by step. Every step it took caused the space to tremble. It quickly charged toward the fist shadows that filled the sky. The 2 of them exchanged blows. The momentum was extremely terrifying. Moreover, what was even more shocking was that the terrifying fluctuation was only limited to Lin Xian's courtyard. Outside the courtyard, it was abnormally quiet. As expected of a peerless expert, his technique was indeed heaven-defying. In the next moment, Lin Xian's palms changed. Qiongqi in the sky also let out a deafening roar. Qiongqi transformation's sky-shaking roar. The blue sound wave was like a vast ocean that surged out. It was this move that had defeated Dugo Outyin. Now Lin Xian was using the same move against Meng Tian. At that moment, everyone was extremely nervous. In the face of the terrifying sky-shaking roar, Meng Tian let out a long roar. The fist technique in his hand shone even brighter. When he threw out a punch, the wind blew in all directions. The powerful fist force carried terrifying energy as it resisted the blue sound wave. After all, he was a level 8 expert. He could be said to be extremely powerful. Therefore, he resisted the sound wave that Qiongqi released. Not only that, Meng Tian continued to throw punches and finally shattered all the sound waves. Then he charged toward Lin Xian in an extremely violent manner. Everyone was shocked. As expected of a level 8 honorable realm expert, he was indeed terrifying. However, Lin Xian looked calm. He put away the 9 changes of the firmament seal. Then he bent his finger and flicked it forward. Void-shattering finger. A ray of finger light shot out like a dragon. The ray of light was too fast. It was like a bolt of lightning. In an instant it disappeared in the sky. The crowd could not see its trajectory at all. They could only see the endless space shattering rapidly. What? Seeing this, Zhuo Donglai stopped smiling. His expression became extremely solemn. The surrounding disciples were even more shocked. They didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a terrifying technique. The finger beam was like a dragon as it moved swiftly. In an instant, it collided with the countless fist shadows and pierced through them. Not only that, but it also quickly ran toward Meng Tian. Seeing his fist technique being penetrated, Meng Tian's pupils shrank as a great sense of crisis rose in his heart. It was as if a single ray of light could take his life. Not good retreat. Meng Tian's expression changed drastically. Without hesitation, he retreated in an attempt to evade the attack. However, this finger light was too strange. It followed him like a shadow, and caught up to him in an instant. With a cold snort, Meng Tian's spiritual energy surged and quickly condensed into an armor. After doing all this, he heaved a sigh of relief. This was because he was wearing a half-earth rank armor, and this light was emitted by that armor. The power of a half-earth rank artifact was boundless. Moreover, his spiritual energy was abundant, so he should be able to withstand this finger light. At the next moment, a shocking vibration was heard. Following that, Meng Tian kept retreating, and his face became extremely pale. The shadow of the armor in front of him was penetrated, and the finger light hit him directly. Fortunately, he was still wearing the half-earth rank armor, so it was not immediately penetrated. Even so, the enormous power still forced him to retreat. Moreover, he sensed in horror that the half-earth rank armor on his body seemed to be unable to withstand it. Meng Tian gritted his teeth and quickly activated the armor to resist it. Fortunately, the armor on his body resisted the finger light in the end. After doing all this, he was completely drenched. Although he had only exchanged 2 moves, it was as if he had gone through a very difficult battle. Is this his power? Meng Tian's heart pounded wildly. He realized that he had no hope of winning against Lin Xian. In particular, the last move almost took his life. The surrounding disciples were even more shocked, and their minds went blank. 2 moves again. Meng Tian lost. This was too shocking. One had to know that Meng Tian was not Dugo Outyan, but a powerhouse from the previous generation. Now he was a peerless powerhouse in the 8th heaven of the Venerable Realm. Even so, he was still defeated by Lin Xian. Thinking of this, everyone's hearts trembled. Dugo Outyan and Li Yunfei's faces were even paler. They realized that Lin Xian's strength was far more powerful than they had imagined. It was laughable that the 2 of them wanted to compete with Lin Xian. Damn it! What kind of technique was that finger light? It's so terrifying. Li Yunfei's body was still trembling. Dugo Outyan also smiled bitterly and shook his head. He realized that he could not understand Lin Xian at all. Void-shattering finger. You've even learned the void-shattering finger. On the side, Zhuo Donglai was shocked. He was too shocked. Originally, he was just curious about Lin Xian, and wanted to see what was so special about this mysterious young man. But now he was completely stunned. Meng Tian was too powerful. He was not weaker than an 8th heaven venerable. Moreover, he had mastered 2 earth-rank martial arts. Moreover, they were 2 extremely powerful earth-rank martial arts. The 9 changes of the firmament and the void-shattering finger were 2 famous martial arts techniques in the True Spirit Palace. They were extremely powerful, but they were very difficult to learn. Looking at Lin Xian's appearance, it seemed that he had only exchanged for them after the Hidden Sky Secret Realm. It had only been 2 months, But he had already cultivated 2 Earth-rank martial arts to such an extent. It was too shocking. This guy's talent is too strong. Zhuodonglai was shocked. No one could cultivate 2 Earth-rank martial arts in just 2 months, and have some success in both. Junior brother Meng, it seems like you didn't lose this battle unjustly. Hearing Zhuodonglai's words, Meng Tian felt much better. He knew that Zhuodonglai was stronger than him, and had a unique vision. Since Zhuodonglai had said so, it seemed like Lin Xian's strength was beyond his imagination. He could not judge him by his cultivation level. Lin Xian was also very happy. He had wanted to test out the power of the void-shattering finger, but he did not expect it to be so effective. He had defeated Meng Tian with 1 move. This was only the result of 2 months of cultivation. If he continued to cultivate, the power of the void-shattering finger would be even stronger in the future. When he used the void-shattering finger, he might be able to kill an 8th heaven venerable. Thinking of this, Lin Xian was very excited. This was really a powerful weapon. However, the only regret he had was that he could only use the void-shattering finger once. After that he would have to accumulate more power. That was the void-shattering finger. You didn't lose unjustly. Zhuodonglai looked at Meng Tian and said in a low voice, "The void-shattering finger is very powerful. It is said that when it is cultivated to perfection, it can destroy everything. Luckily, this guy has only cultivated it for 2 months. Otherwise, you would have been seriously injured today." Hearing Zhuodonglai's words, Meng Tian was scared. Chapter 1245. Zhuodonglai shook his head. Based on his current strength, there shouldn't be a problem. But I don't think he's that weak. So, if we really fight, I don't have the confidence to win. If you want to have complete confidence, I'm afraid only boss can do it. What? He's so strong. Meng Tian was shocked. He didn't expect that even Zhuodonglai didn't have complete confidence. After that, everyone left with complicated emotions. Zhuodonglai and Meng Tian invited Lin Xian to join the punishment hall after graduation. Dugu Outyin and Li Yunfei looked at Lin Xian with respect. The other disciples of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were extremely excited because Lin Xian was their boss. The stronger Lin Xian was, the stronger they would be. Soon, the news of Lin Xian and Meng Tian's battle spread throughout the Immortal Martial Academy. Suddenly, the entire academy was in an uproar. It was extremely lively. No one expected Lin Xian to be so strong. Even the elders were surprised. Hearing this, Din Xian's eyes flickered. Then he said in a low voice, "It seems like it's time to let him know the truth." After Meng Tian and Dugu Outyin left, Lin Xian's courtyard returned to its peaceful state. However, a few days later, a strange cry broke the silence. The voice was arrogant, like a peerless demon. However, Lin Xian smiled when he heard it, because he knew that it was the voice of the dark red dragon. It should be awake now. Previously, the dark red dragon had refined the blood essence of the heavenly netherbird. It had been cultivating for more than 2 months. Now it seemed like it had finally succeeded. Indeed, in the next moment, a red figure flew out from Lin Xian's demonic beast pouch. Then it roared towards the sky and rushed towards the clouds. Its body had already expanded to 100 feet long. The entire Immortal Martial Academy heard the dragon's roar. Instantly, everyone was excited and started searching for it. That's the roar of a dragon. In the Immortal Martial Academy, the elders were all excited. Each of them emitted a powerful light and rushed towards the sky. Even Headmaster Xian's eyes shone with a terrifying light. Like 2 sharp swords, they pierced through the void and stared upwards. It couldn't be helped. They were simply too shocked. One had to know that dragons were mysterious existences. Although they had a drop of dragon blood in the True Spirit Palace, they had paid a great price to obtain it. And there was only 1 drop in total. Thus, how could they not be shocked when they heard the dragon's roar? Lin Xian also looked at the sky in surprise. At this moment, the dark red divine dragon was 300 meters long and looked extraordinarily mighty. Not only that, but its body was also filled with an enormous pressure. 8th Heaven Venerable Realm. Who would have thought that a drop of the heavenly netherbird's essence blood would allow the dark red godly dragon to recover from the 5th firmament of the Martial Saint Realm to the 8th firmament of the Martial Saint Realm? This was undoubtedly a huge improvement. It seemed that the dark red divine dragon was also very excited. He roared at the sky again, and his voice spread in all directions. This directly alarmed the elders of the Immortal Martial Academy. They all extended their perception outwards. There were even people who took action to search for the mystical dragon. Ruffian Long, hurry up and come down. Otherwise you'll be captured and refined into medicine. Lin Xian hurriedly transmitted his voice. Although the 8th firmament of the Martial Saint realm was powerful, it wasn't invincible. One had to know that the Immortal Martial Academy was a king faction. There were definitely 9th firmament of the Martial Saint realm, half-step kings, and even king realm existences. If those people were to make a move, the dark red divine dragon would definitely be captured. Don't worry, kid. They won't be able to capture me. The dark red divine dragon laughed weirdly again. Then his body kept shrinking. Finally, he turned into a bolt of lightning and landed in Lin Xian's courtyard. Strange, the dragon's roar disappeared? Damn it, I didn't notice it. The group of elders of the Immortal Martial Academy were very angry. They were so close, they could have seen the legendary dragons. If someone were to see this scene, they would definitely be shocked, because there were no lack of 8th firmament venerables among the elders. There were even a few 9th firmament venerables. They were all extremely powerful existences. However, these people were very disappointed because they had missed the mystical dragon. On the other hand, Din Xian narrowed his eyes with a suspicious look. This was because he only saw a blurry figure and didn't see the real dragons. However, as a king, his strength was extraordinary. Therefore, he saw the illusory figure land in the Immortal Martial Academy. Moreover, the direction it landed in seemed to be where Lin Xian was. Could the dragons be related to that kid? Din Xian was shocked. In the courtyard, Lin Xian looked at the dark red divine dragon and rolled his eyes. You made such a big commotion the moment you came out. Aren't you afraid of being caught? Hehe, I'm not afraid. Even a king might not be able to catch me now. The dark red divine dragon was very confident. Hearing this, Lin Xian shook his head helplessly. Then, he took out a crystal ball from his storage ring and threw it to the dark red divine dragon. This is for you. See if you like it. What's this? Kid, you prepared a gift for me? The dark red divine dragon was puzzled. Then he received the crystal ball. However, in the next moment he was stunned. His body started trembling slightly. This is dragon's blood. You exchanged it for dragon's blood. Ha 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 ha, that's great. With this dragon's blood, I can recover my strength again. The dark red divine dragon was like an old monster as he roared towards the sky. This time it was too good. First, he had the heavenly netherbird's blood essence. Now, he had the dragon's blood. It wouldn't take long for him to recover his true strength. At that time, he would be like the heavenly netherbird, causing the entire Tianwu continent to tremble. However, Lin Xian said, "Don't go into seclusion first. Help me set up a formation. I want to absorb the source of the black flame in the feather." Lin Xian had a heavenly netherbird feather in his hand. It contained the origin flame. He had long wanted to absorb it, but he was afraid that it would attract the attention of the heavenly netherbird. If that happened, the entire Immortal Martial Academy would be in trouble. Now, with the dark red divine dragon, he could set up a formation to prevent the black flame's chi from leaking out. This way, even the heavenly netherbird wouldn't be able to find it. Don't worry, leave it to me, the dark red divine dragon said. Then he started to set up the formation. Now that he had recovered his strength, the speed at which he set up the formation had increased. In just one day, he had set up an ancient formation that covered Lin Xian's entire courtyard. With the dark red divine dragon's formation, Lin Xian was completely at ease. Then, he took out the origin silk feather and prepared to cultivate. The feather was as long as a chopstick. It was completely black like a black jade. On top of it, there was a ball of black flame that burned fiercely. It was like the fire of hell. Lin Xian didn't hesitate. In the next moment, he activated his spiritual energy and began to absorb it. Chapter 1246. Finally, a few days later, a few old men arrived at the Immortal Martial Academy. They were all experts, so their arrival didn't attract the attention of the ordinary disciples. Other than Din Xian, no one knew that there were experts from the War God Palace. This time, there were a total of more than 10 people. All of them were old men with white hair. Some of them were even holding crutches. These people had powerful auras. The weakest was at the 8th heaven, and some were at the 9th heaven. I'm sure everyone knows the reason why I called you all here. Din Xian said in a deep voice. You're saying that the young master has grown to the point where he can take charge and we can meet. The group of old men were excited. To be honest, his growth has surprised me. He's no weaker than an 8th heaven reverend now. Din Xian said slowly. What? The young master's strength has grown so fast. The group of old men were shocked. Quick, let me see the young master. They were too excited, because they knew of Lin Xian's existence. However, Lin Xian's cultivation was too weak at that time. In order to protect Lin Xian from being hunted down, they didn't meet him immediately. Instead, they let Lin Xian enter the Immortal Martial Academy. Now Lin Xian had just entered the academy for a year, and he was already able to fight against an 8th heaven reverend. This was beyond their expectations. One must know that even a peerless genius wouldn't have such a terrifying cultivation speed. Therefore, the group of old men wanted to see Lin Xian immediately. Everyone, don't panic. That kid is now in seclusion. I'm afraid you won't be able to see him for a few days. Din Xian explained. What? The young master is in seclusion again? He's really hardworking. No wonder he can improve so much in such a short time. Din Xian, don't worry. We won't disturb the young master. We'll just watch him from afar. These old men couldn't hold it in anymore. All right. Din Xian knew that these old men were anxious. Moreover, he believed that these old men wouldn't do anything to harm Lin Xian. Instantly, the group of people flew towards Lin Xian's courtyard. The speed of these people was simply shocking. With a step, they had already appeared on the horizon. Therefore, it didn't take long for them to arrive above Lin Xian's courtyard. Let me see if young master looks the same as the portrait. A red-robed elder was excited. Nonsense. Of course young master looks the same as in the painting. If not, what else could he look like? At the side, an old man in a green robe retorted. Old 8, what do you know? Of course, young master was much more handsome than in the portrait. If you don't even know this, what are you doing here? The red-robed old man snorted coldly. Everyone was already used to these two old fellows, so no one tried to stop them when they quarreled. The other elders all looked down, but soon they cried out in alarm. There's actually a protective formation. The Institute of Heavenly Arts has been looking for you. You are protecting our young master so carefully. The group of old men looked at Headmaster Xian gratefully. But since we're all here, let's open the formation. Din Xian shook her head slightly. I think you are mistaken. I didn't set up this array formation. You didn't set it up? Could it be that young master set it up himself? As expected of young master, he is indeed cautious. Forget it. I'll do it myself and break the formation. The old men finally couldn't take it anymore, and were ready to do it themselves. But soon they were shocked again, because they realized that they couldn't break the formation at all. What a strange formation. I can't break it. The red-robed old man was shocked. Go away. Watch me. The green-robed old man snorted and quickly made his move. However, he frowned. This isn't an ordinary formation. It seems to be an ancient formation. Young master is indeed extraordinary. He actually knows such an ancient formation. Many old men tried to break it, but they couldn't. Of course, they could use their powerful battle prowess to forcefully blast it open. However, doing so would definitely alarm Lin Xian, who was below, so they could only wait patiently. Forget it. For young master's safety, let's wait patiently. The red-robed old man sighed, then sat cross-legged in the void. When the other old men saw that, they also waited quietly. Even the Xian courtyard didn't leave. The group of people stayed above Lin Xian's courtyard, and stayed there for 7 days. After 7 days, a scorching aura suddenly came from below. It was like a heat wave that quickly surged into the sky. Immediately, the old men above all opened their eyes. What a terrifying fire attribute energy! Could it be that young master is a fire attribute martial artist? You don't say. This fire attribute is really pure. I'm afraid it's rare in the world. They were all experts, so they could sense the fire attribute energy in the air, with just a little bit of perception. Immediately, they laughed because Lin Xian was their young master. The more powerful Lin Xian was, the happier they would be. In the courtyard, Lin Xian sat cross-legged and suddenly opened his eyes. 2 balls of black flames burned in his eyes. It was very strange. The next moment, he turned his gaze and looked at a rockery in front of him. Suddenly, a light flashed in his eyes. A ball of black flames quickly surged out and instantly pounced on the rockery in front of him. Whoosh whoosh. In an instant, the rockery was burned clean, leaving only a ball of black flames dancing. Not only that, the black flames seemed to be inextinguishable. They stayed there for a long time and showed no signs of weakening. In the end, Lin Xian waved his hand and collected the black flames on the ground. The flames in Lin Xian's eyes were the flame martial soul that he had condensed. Furthermore, the black flames came from the heavenly netherbird's body. Its power was terrifying. Now that Lin Xian had unleashed it, its effect was no weaker than the heavenly netherbird's. This made him very happy. With the black flame martial soul, his strength had increased by a lot. He believed that if he faced Meng Tian now, he would only need a glance to set his opponent's body ablaze. Furthermore, the flames could not be extinguished. Ordinary 8th level honorables would not be able to resist such means. However, he quickly frowned and looked up into the sky. This was because he could sense that there were dozens of powerful auras above him with his soul power. These auras were very strong. The weakest one was an 8th level honorable. There was even a king's aura. This caused him to be extremely shocked. With so many experts above him, it seemed that there was something important going on. However, he was not too worried. This was because he could sense that the king's aura should belong to Din Xian. Presumably, these people would not pose any threat to him. Therefore, Lin Xian asked the dark red divine dragon to remove the array. Then he said in a deep voice, "Seniors, please come in." Above him, Din Xian and the elders of the Palace of Gods of War were waiting patiently. Suddenly, they realized that the array below them had been opened. Furthermore, a voice entered their ears. "Seniors, please come in." Chapter 1247. Din Xian smiled faintly as she turned around. In the courtyard, a gust of wind blew, and more than 10 elders appeared. These people had powerful auras and strength. Their eyes were especially dazzling. Moreover, they were all staring at Lin Xian. Being stared at by so many powerful elders, even Lin Xian couldn't help but feel scared. However, those elders didn't care. They all ran forward and hugged Lin Xian as they burst into tears. "Young lord, we finally meet you. That's great. We have hope now. Young lord, you must lead us to take back the palace of Ares." The group of elders was excited. When Lin Xian heard these words, he was also shocked. At this moment, he realized that these powerful elders were all from the palace of Ares. Of course, they should be on his father's side, and not on the vice palace master's side. "Seniors, let's talk nicely. Don't be so agitated. Young lord, don't call us seniors anymore. You're making us feel bad." The group of elders quickly shook their heads. The red-robed elder said, "We're all elders of the palace of Ares. I'm the 7th, this is the 8th, 11th, 12th, and 14th. The red-robed elder introduced. Lin Xian then realized that these were all elders of the palace of Ares. They were all core elders. "All right, elders, don't cry anymore. Tell me about the situation in the palace of gods of war first. And how is my father?" Lin Xian asked. "The situation of the palace of Ares isn't optimistic. Overall, we're at a disadvantage and completely suppressed. But don't worry, young lord. Although we're suppressed, they can't destroy us. Moreover, now that you're back, I believe that you'll be able to lead us to take back the palace of Ares soon. As for the palace master, he's still in seclusion. Don't worry, the vice palace master, and those people can't hurt him at all." Lin Xian frowned slightly when he heard the 7th elder's words. Overall, the situation on their side was not good. It was very bad. But as long as the vice palace master didn't become a true king, they wouldn't lose. "Looks like I have to hurry up. What can we do to turn the tables and defeat them?" Lin Xian asked. The 7th elder thought for a moment and said, "There are two main aspects. First, resources. As long as we have more resources than them, we can slow down the vice palace master's breakthrough. As long as he doesn't break through and become a true king, we still have a chance of winning. Secondly, allies. Now the palace of gods of war has many powerful allies. Among them, the Shen family of the King family also supports them. But luckily, we have immortal martial arts on our side, so it can be considered a draw. However, the clans below are far inferior to them." Lin Xian nodded. He finally understood. "How about this 7th elder? You go back and take charge of the situation. I'll do my best to conquer the entire Blood Realm as soon as possible. I think it will definitely be of great help in terms of resources. Subdue the Blood Realm." Hearing this, the 7th elder and the others were shocked. Even the headmaster Xian was surprised. Although this idea is good, the Blood Realm isn't so easy to conquer. In the past few hundred years, the Blood Realm hasn't been truly unified. Yes, young master, the Blood Realm is too chaotic. The forces inside are too complicated. Not only that, the Vice Palace Master has already intervened in the Blood Realm. Among them, Wu Zun and young Master Ling Feng are in the Blood Realm. I'm afraid they're in charge of more than half of the Blood Realm. Indeed, the Blood Realm was a very special place in the Sky Martial continent. It was very chaotic, so it wasn't truly unified. However, the resources inside were very rich. So many forces were fighting here. But the biggest force was still Wu Zun and young Master Ling Feng's faction. "Don't worry, since I said so. I'll definitely be able to do it." Lin Xian's gaze was firm. "Don't worry, after all, there's still our immortal martial academy here. With us here, Lin Xian won't be harmed." At this moment, the headmaster Xian also spoke. "All right, then we'll leave behind a few elders to assist young master." The 7th elder and the others discussed and finally agreed. In the end, they left behind the 9th elder and the 10th elder, while the rest returned to take charge of the situation. "Young master, what should we do next?" the 9th elder asked. After all, subduing the Blood Realm wasn't a simple matter, and they didn't have much time left. "I still have some cultivators under me. Many of them are disciples of the Immortal Martial Academy. and some of them are from other small forces. Although it's not much, it's enough for now. How about this, Ninth Elder? You go to the Immortal Martial Auction and take charge of the situation. You have to make sure that the Immortal Martial Auction's reputation is completely spread. 10th Elder, it'll give you some cultivators. You guys quickly go and gather the scattered forces and increase our strength. The 10th Elder nodded, but the 9th Elder was somewhat puzzled. Young Master, are we going to manage the auction? Although the profits from the auction were very high, the cycle was too long, and if there weren't any treasures up for auction, the reputation of the Immortal Martial Auction would quickly decline. Lin Xian didn't explain this point. Instead, he took out 2 pill recipes from his storage ring. The 9th Elder and the 10th Elder had a look of suspicion, but when they received the pill recipes and saw the contents, they were both stunned. Then the 2 of them were extremely shocked. Longevity pill. Not old-time tea. This was exactly what was recorded in the 2 pill recipes. Of course, this longevity pill didn't really mean immortality, but it was a type of pill that increased one's lifespan. This pill was useful for all cultivators, and even kings could take it. Moreover, depending on the effect, it could increase one's lifespan by 30 to 100 years. Don't underestimate this lifespan. Although it wasn't much for normal cultivators, for those elders who were about to die, it was a life-saving straw. Not to mention 30 years, even if it was just an extra year. These people would still fight over it. One had to know that there was only hope if one was alive. Maybe one day they would break through, and once they died, there would be nothing left. Therefore, no matter if you were an ordinary person or a top king, lifespan would always be something that everyone pursued. And now, Lin Xian actually had a pill that could increase one's lifespan. This was too shocking. Not old-time tea's effect was similar. It didn't directly increase one's lifespan, but it slowed down one's aging in another way. This kind of thing also made people go crazy. One had to know that when those elders reached their old age, their qi and blood would be depleted, and their strength would decline. It was impossible for them to reach their peak. Chapter 1248. This was the reason why the blood qi in his body had withered. However, the immortal tea could alleviate this situation. At least, it would prevent his cultivation from dropping too much in his later years. If he took it for a long time, it could even stabilize his cultivation. Moreover, it had the effect of maintaining one's appearance. This was especially important for female martial artists. Women were born to be beautiful. Other than longevity, they also pursued beauty. This was not old-time tea, it could achieve this. Hence, if these two items were taken out, it would definitely shock the entire Tianwu continent. At that time, countless people would go crazy over them. Young master, is this true? The ninth elder and the ninth elder were shocked. No wonder the young master was so confident. With these two miraculous elixirs, he could definitely amass a large amount of wealth. Not only wealth, but also relationships. After all, the elixirs that could increase one's lifespan were extremely precious. There would not be many of them. At that time, it would not be something that could be bought with money. Lin Xian had found these two items in the inheritance of King Danyu. However, the herbs needed to refine these two items were extremely precious and rare. They were probably extinct in the outside world. However, Lin Xian had obtained the herbs to refine these elixirs in the remote sky mystery land. Hence, he thought of these two elixirs. Even King Danyu might not have refined the longevity elixir back then. This was because it was too precious. Young master, although these elixirs are rare and precious, others might not believe it. The ninth elder voiced out his worries. Indeed, elixirs that could increase one's lifespan were too shocking. Those martial artists might not believe it so easily. With regards to this, Lin Xian nodded and agreed. However, he had already thought of a solution. Hence he asked, "Are there any big forces in Tianwu continent that are having special activities recently? For example, birthday banquets and such?" The ninth elder thought for a while and said, "Young master, now that you have reminded me, there are indeed two. One is the current Zhuangzhu of Deity Sword Villa. He is celebrating his 1000th birthday. Deity Sword Villa was a top 6th rank sect. Its strength was only slightly weaker than the sovereign families. It could be said that it was very powerful. Now that Zhuangzhu of Deity Sword Villa was celebrating his birthday, he would probably invite the entire Tianwu continent." Deity Sword Villa, Lin Xian muttered, then narrowed his eyes. "When exactly is this birthday banquet?" 2 months later. "Alright, I understand." Lin Xian nodded. He did not know Zhuangzhu from the Deity Sword Villa, but he had seen the Sword Venerable from the Deity Sword Villa before. Moreover, he had a certain understanding of the other party's character, because last time in the remote sky secret realm, everyone was fighting over the blue wind sword, but that sword sovereign did not make a move against him. It could be imagined that the other party's character was trustworthy. "Sword sovereign, I've prepared a big gift for you," Lin Xian said with a smile. Then he asked, "Anything else?" "Yes, there's another one. It's the Shun family." "The Shun family?" Lin Xian was puzzled. "That's right, it's the Chun family," the ninth elder said. 1 month later, a little princess of the Chun family will celebrate her birthday. This is also a grand occasion in the Sky Martial continent. At that time, all the young talents of the various sects will definitely gather at the Morong family. "I've never heard of the Chun family's little princess," Lin Xian asked. He knew that the Morong family had a little princess, and that was Morong Qingcheng. However, he really did not know about the Chun family's little princess. But thinking about it, she shouldn't be too bad. Actually, young master does not need to be surprised. Not many people know about this. I'm afraid that only those top powers and families know about it. Oh, why is that? Logically speaking, the other party was the Chun family's little princess. She should not be any worse than Morong Qingcheng. Such a person was definitely an outstanding talent of the younger generation in the Sky Martial continent. But the ninth elder's meaning was that not many people knew about it. Actually, this Chun family's little princess is also a pitiful person, the ninth elder said slowly. She was indeed a stunning person in the past. Furthermore, she was extremely beautiful. She was not any worse than Morong Qingcheng. Lin Xian nodded. However, this made him even more puzzled. Since she was such a person, why did they hide her? Could it be that the Chen family has some other motive? It's not that the Chen family intentionally hit her. It's just that something happened in between. 3 years ago, the Chen family's little princess left the Sky Martial continent on a long journey. When she returned, she coincidentally encountered the awakening of her bloodline. However, during the process, something went wrong, and she suffered a backlash from her bloodline. As a result, she was burned. Her meridians were damaged. On the outside, her skin and appearance were burned. It was rumored that the Chen family also had an extremely powerful bloodline. Furthermore, the little princess bloodline at that time was even more powerful. Even the Chen family's king could not do anything about it. Therefore, that year, the Chen family's little princess lost her cultivation, and her appearance was destroyed. After that, although she survived, she lost all hope. Gradually, there was no news of her in the Sky Martial continent. This time, it was her 20th birthday. Presumably, the Morong family wanted to use this opportunity to form a marriage alliance with another family. Marriage alliance? Her entire body was burned. How could she form a marriage alliance? Lin Xian frowned. Although she was burned, her status is still there. After all, she is a direct descendant of the Chen family. I'm afraid there will be many warriors coming to propose marriage. After all, to be able to form a relationship with the Chen family is everyone's dream. Sigh, she's also a pitiful person. Lin Xian sighed. What's the name of the Chen family's little princess? Oh, I know this. She's called Shinjingqiu. Ninth Elder said. What? What did you say her name was? Lin Xian jumped up. Shinjingqiu. Ninth Elder was puzzled. Could it be that young master knows her? Lin Xian was stunned. A scene appeared in his mind. It was in an underground palace, and a beautiful young woman said to him, Lin Xian, you must come to the Sky Martial continent to find me. In the end, the young woman only left behind a crescent-shaped pendant, and then left. After that, Lin Xian came to the Sky Martial continent, but there was no news of Shenjingqiu. The Sky Martial continent was too vast. It was extremely difficult to find a person. Lin Xian thought that he would never see her again in this life. But he did not expect to hear news of her now. So she was actually the Chen family's little princess. So the reason why there was no news of her all these years was because something happened to her. The Chen family had probably sealed off all news of Shinjingqiu. No wonder he did not hear anything. Jingqiu, I won't let anything happen to you. Lin Xian clenched his fists. Shinjingqiu had met with such a miserable fate that even a king could not do anything about it. It could be said that there was no hope of recovery in this life. But it was different now. Lin Xian knew about this matter. And he also had the old-time tea in his hands. With this miraculous spiritual tea, he believed that it could completely heal Shinjingqiu's injuries. Chapter 1249. He went into seclusion to refine the longevity pill, an everlasting old-time tea. With Lin Xian's current strength, refining 8th grade pills was no problem at all. If he used the Thousand Beasts Cauldron, he could even refine 9th grade pills. The longevity pill was very special. Its grade was not fixed and could fluctuate. The lowest grade was an 8th grade pill, and the highest grade could even surpass 9th grade pills and reach the level of divine medicine. According to the grade, the lifespan of the longevity pill was different. Lin Xian could now refine 8th grade pills that could increase lifespan by 30 years, or 9th grade pills that could increase lifespan by 50 years. After thinking about it, Lin Xian finally refined an 8th grade pill that could increase lifespan by 30 years. The spiritual herbs needed to refine these pills were extremely precious and could not be found in the outside world. Lin Xian did not have many of them either. It could be said that the more he used, the less he would have. Therefore, he only took a little of them and planted the rest in the mysterious space of the small sword in his body. Since the purple thunder bamboo could be planted there, other spiritual herbs could be planted there as well. Lin Xian tried it and found that the spiritual herbs that he used to refine the longevity pill could all grow here. This made him completely relieved. This way, he did not have to worry about the spiritual herbs, because the spiritual energy in this mysterious space was abundant, and the growth speed was much faster than the outside world. He could quickly obtain rich spiritual herbs. Not only that, Lin Xian also planted an immortal tea tree inside. The immortal tea did not need to be refined. It only needed to be plucked from the leaves of the immortal tea tree to make tea. However, the leaves were very rare. The one in Lin Xian's hand only had 30 leaves. He did not eat the longevity pill, but he drank the immortal tea. He found that the effects were surprisingly good. The leaves of the immortal tea tree were too few now. If there were more leaves in the future, he could give these to his friends. Long-term consumption could definitely strengthen one's martial arts foundation and even preserve one's youth. Lin Xian was refining pills and cultivating spiritual herbs in preparation for the birthday banquet of the Shen family's little princess. Not only him, but the other families were also preparing, because they knew that this was not a simple birthday banquet. Behind this banquet, there was also the purpose of marriage. Although the little princess of the Shen family was disfigured, she was still a direct descendant of the Shen family. Moreover, her father held great power in the family. Therefore, to be able to marry such a woman was extremely good for every family. At the very least, he would be able to climb up the Shen family's tree and even become a core member of the Shen family. Therefore, although those young disciples were unwilling, the elders of the family tried their best to matchmake them. Shuiyu Wuji Palace. This was a very famous building in the Blood Realm, because its owner was a martial saint. Wu Zun's strength was extraordinary, and he had reached the 9th heavenly layer of the Venerable Realm. Moreover, he had a noble status. As the son of the Vice Palace Lord of the War God Technique, it could be said that he was second only to one person. At this moment, he was sitting in the main hall, quietly listening to the reports from his subordinates. Beside him stood a handsome young man. However, this young man's face was as cold as ice, without a trace of expression. This person was the famous young master Ling Feng of the Sky Martial Continent. He was also the son of a martial saint, and the grandson of the Vice Palace Lord. At this moment he said coldly, "Although the little princess of the Shen family is disfigured, she is still very useful. Therefore this time, we must obtain the marriage alliance." Young master is right. At the side, a few martial saints in armor also responded. Previously, we had some conflicts with the Shen family in the remote sky secret realm, which caused our relationship to break. If we can marry the little princess of the Shen family this time, we will definitely be able to mend the cracks from before, and even improve our relationship. At that time, with the full support of the Shen family, I think we can easily take down the War God Palace. Yes. Above, the martial saint on the throne nodded slightly after hearing this. Then he asked again, "By the way, you said that Lin Zhan's son has appeared and his strength is not bad." "Indeed, he has appeared and defeated Yan Feng and Duan Tianxing." This boy's speed of growth has indeed exceeded our expectations. We must kill him as soon as possible to prevent him from causing trouble. The martial saint frowned slightly. Yes, but that boy should be well protected now. I'm afraid it will be difficult to kill him in a short period of time. That's true. Since they know the boy's identity, they must be prepared. The martial saint tapped lightly on the void with his finger. Instantly, a sonorous sound was heard, and the entire space seemed to be frozen. Instantly, the atmosphere in the hall became heavy. No one dared to say a word, and everyone lowered their heads respectfully. At this moment, the handsome and cold young master Ling Feng spoke. He's just a boy. Father, you don't have to worry about him. Just leave it to me. All right, I'll leave the matter of the youngsters to you. The martial saint nodded. He was very confident in his son. After all, the title of young master Ling Feng was not for nothing. As for the marriage alliance candidate, let the fifth brother go. Yes, I will inform the fifth young master now. In fact, not only the War God Palace, the Morong family, Merry Woods, Divine Bird Palace, Deity Sword Villa and other major forces all chose their outstanding disciples to participate in the banquet. This time, they must obtain the marriage alliance. Immortal Martial Academy. This place was extremely peaceful. There were no fluctuations because of the birthday banquet of the little princess of the Shun clan. This was because the Immortal Martial Academy was an independent power and did not participate in the struggles of other powers. Its responsibility was to cultivate and nurture talented disciples. Of course, Lin Xian's matter was an exception. This was because Lin Xian's father, Lin Zhan, had helped the Immortal Martial Academy in the past. This was why the dean of the Immortal Martial Academy was willing to help Lin Xian. In the courtyard, the 10th elder's figure appeared, holding an invitation card in his hand. Young master, the invitation card is in our hands. We can set off now. Oh, I know. Lin Xian took in a deep breath. This time, he must save Shinjingqiu. This time, Lin Xian only brought Yu Fei with him. Wang Li, Dongfang Xiong, and the rest stayed in the Immortal Martial Academy and the auction. The Crimson Divine Dragon went into seclusion to refine the dragon blood. But it was just a banquet. With Lin Xian's current strength, he could definitely handle it. As for the 9th elder and 10th elder, they hid in the shadows and followed silently. As long as Lin Xian's life was not in danger, they would not show themselves. Let's go. Lin Xian summoned the golden-feathered divine eagle and set off. Naturally, young Master Ling Feng's men found out about his actions. Instantly, the news reached young Master Ling Feng. Chapter 1250. He's just a piece of trash, and he wants to attend the Shen family's banquet. He's courting death. Young Master Ling Feng snorted. In his opinion, Lin Xian must be thinking of marrying into the Shen family to obtain a powerful assistant. However, young Master Ling Feng would not allow such a thing to happen. Go find a few people and make a move on the way. Cripple that brat for me. Don't kill him. I want him alive. Bring him here. Young Master Ling Feng's voice was cold and emotionless. Yes, I'll arrange it now. Instantly, a martial artist who was like a shadow said respectfully. Wait. Young Master, please instruct me. Hearing young Master Ling Feng's words, the martial artist who wanted to leave immediately stopped in his tracks. That kid is not weak now. Send some 8th heaven reverence. Forget it. Let's send a message to the Skynet organization and ask them to send some people to bring that kid here. Yes, I'll do it now. Instantly, the martial artist left quickly. However, young Master Ling Feng's eyes flashed and his lips curled into a smile. So what if those people know your identity? I'll send the strongest assassin organization to kill you. I don't believe you can escape. Offend me? I'll let you know what hell is. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for not existing in this world. Because the Palace of Gods of War only has one young master. And that's me. In the blink of an eye, a day had passed. Lin Xian had completely left the Immortal Martial Academy's territory. At this moment, he was sitting cross-legged on the golden-feathered divine eagle and cultivating silently. Beside him, Yu Fei used his spiritual energy to create a spiritual energy palace for Lin Xian to use. Not bad. You've improved a lot recently. Looking at the spiritual energy palace, Lin Xian nodded slightly. Actually, I have to thank you, Brother Xian. If it wasn't for the treasures you gave me, I wouldn't have the strength I have now. Yu Fei was very grateful. His strength had already reached the 6th heaven reverend realm. Moreover, his martial soul was very special. It was the shadow martial soul, which was good at sensing and spying. It could be said that it was very suitable for intelligence work. Lin Xian nodded but didn't say anything else. Instead, he closed his eyes and continued to cultivate. He had the most heavenly treasures in his hands, so he would not waste any time cultivating. At the same time, there were 4 figures behind him. They were moving swiftly in the void like ghosts. It has already been a day. Now that he has completely left the territory of the Immortal Martial Academy, we can make our move now. Alright, be careful later. Don't kill that brat. Just cripple him. Don't worry, big brother. We are professionals. Capturing a brat at the 7th heavenly layer is not a problem. The 4 of them were extremely confident as they sped up. In front of him, the golden feather divine eagle spread its wings and soared. Its speed was fast and steady, but all of a sudden, Lin Xian, who was sitting cross-legged, opened his eyes. At the side, Yu Fei also frowned with a solemn expression. Older brother Xian, there seems to be a situation. My shadow martial spirit has sensed that something is wrong with the surrounding aura. Lin Xian was quite surprised by the shadow martial soul's effects. He didn't expect it to be able to sense such minute changes. One should know that even a demonic beast like the golden feather divine eagle didn't sense any danger. There is indeed danger. Be careful later and protect yourself. There's no need to attack. Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Yes. Yu Fei knew Lin Xian's strength. He was someone who could even defeat Meng Tian and the others. Ordinary martial artists wouldn't be a match for him at all. However, he had still underestimated this sneak attack. In front, back, left, and right, the space suddenly split open. 4 long swords flickered with cold light as they pierced towards Lin Xian's head and heart. This sneak attack was too sudden. As a result, the 4 long swords were less than 10 feet away from Lin Xian. Moreover, this attack was extremely fierce and contained the powerful aura of an 8th heavenly layer venerable. 8th heavenly layer venerable. 4 8th heavenly layer venerables. In an instant, Yu Fei's expression changed drastically. He knew that there was a change in the situation and that someone was here to sneak an attack. However, he didn't expect the other party to be 4 8th heavenly layer venerables. One should know that they were 8th heavenly layer venerables. They were peerless powerhouses in the eyes of the world. Yet now there were 4 of them. Furthermore, they were charging toward Lin Xian together. This was a sure death situation. Brother Xian, be careful! Yu Fei roared crazily, and was about to stand up to block an attack. In fact, the 9th elder and the 10th elder, who were hiding in the dark, looked extremely solemn. Both of them couldn't help but attack. However, Lin Xian said coldly, "No need, I'll do it myself." Hearing that, the 9th elder and the 10th elder froze. They hesitated for a moment, but did not attack in the end. In the next moment, a large hand of spiritual energy pressed down on Yu Fei, and formed a spiritual energy shield to protect him. On the other hand, a powerful energy burst out from Lin Xian's body, and quickly formed 4 huge fists that blasted in all directions. The 2 fists in front and behind flickered with purple and white lightning, and were extremely violent. The 2 fists on the left and right were pitch black. Black flames danced on them with a strange aura. The 4 fists appeared together, and quickly blasted towards the 4 long swords that were piercing towards them. Boom! An earth-shattering sound was heard as violent energy exploded. The 4 fists were extremely terrifying, and instantly forced the 4 long swords back. After the earth-shattering sound, the 4 figures retreated pathetically. They slid a few hundred feet in the air before coming to a stop. They were 4 black-clothed men. Their bodies were shrouded in black fog, and were extremely strange. However, their killing intent was extremely monstrous. Although their faces couldn't be seen clearly, their faces were filled with shock. He blocked it. How is that possible? Impossible. How did this kid do it? They were so shocked that they couldn't believe what was happening in front of them. The other party had actually forced all 4 of them back in an instant. How was that possible? One had to know that they were 8th level supremacies and top assassins. Therefore, they were extremely strange, and no one could investigate them. When the 4 of them joined forces, they could already kill a top figure among 8th level supremacies, let alone a mere 7th level supremacies. However, they had failed. Damn it, everyone, be careful. This kid is too strange. The leader was a middle-aged man. Originally, he didn't care about this mission at all because the other party was only a 7th level supremacies. In his opinion, the other party had only angered young Master Ling Feng, and sent them to assassinate him. However, he now realized that he was very wrong. This wasn't an ordinary 7th level supremacies. It seemed that this mission wouldn't be completed so easily. Chapter 1251. Even the 9th elder and the 10th elder, who were hiding in the dark, were shocked. It seems that we have underestimated the young master. That's right. Isn't his strength a little too terrifying? Is he really only a 7th level venerable? Forget it. The young master is too mysterious. We can't see through him. What we can do is to support him as much as we can. The 2 of them shook their heads and stopped talking. However, their expressions showed that they were very excited. Lin Xian's strength had exceeded their expectations. This made them even more confident that Lin Xian could lead them to take back the Palace of Gods. In front of them, Lin Xian stood up slowly after punching the 4 assassins. Then he looked at the 4 of them coldly. Any last words? Leave them, Lin Xian said coldly. How dare you? Who do you think you are? Do you think you can be so arrogant just because you forced us to retreat? The middle-aged man snorted as his killing intent soared. Then, the 4 assassins soared into the sky and attacked Lin Xian again. Stubborn. Since that's the case, go to hell. Lin Xian snorted. He stomped his foot and flew out like a bolt of lightning. Humph, he's just a 7th heaven honorable. Does he really think he can fight against us? The middle-aged man snorted and shouted, Attack with all your might. Just leave him with a breath. The remaining 3 assassins responded. Then, a violent aura exploded from their bodies as they unleashed their martial souls. The leftmost assassin's martial soul was a crimson bat. It was attached to his long sword, and he quickly stabbed at Lin Xian. Lin Xian, on the other hand, swung his fist and threw a punch. A layer of black flames covered his fist. Boom! In the next moment, the black fist landed on the assassin in black. Immediately, the long sword in the assassin's hand burned together with his arm. Then it exploded. Ah! The assassin screamed and quickly retreated. He wanted to seek protection from his companions. As expected, The other 3 assassins changed their direction and charged at Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian was faster. Another punch blasted out, directly blasting the injured assassin into pieces. The sky was filled with a bloody mist, and the pungent smell of blood stimulated everyone's nerves. Everyone was stunned. 8th level Venerable. That was a genuine 8th level Venerable. He was actually blasted apart by 2 punches. The scene was simply too shocking. Damn it, I must kill him. The remaining 3 assassins went berserk and quickly charged towards Lin Xian. This time, the 3 of them moved together, determined to take down Lin Xian. On the other hand, Lin Xian's expression was as cold as ice. Above his fist, a black flame burned fiercely. It was like the fire of hell, strange and cold. Whoosh! Lin Xian used the Void Spirit Illusory Demon Step. His speed was extremely terrifying, and he disappeared from the spot in an instant. Competing in speed? How can you possibly be a match for us? The 3 assassins sneered disdainfully. He quickly turned his body. Fight against it. However, in the next moment, one of them let out a terrified scream. What? How can you keep up with me? The assassin was too terrified. One had to know that as assassins and 8th level venerables, their speed could be said to be extremely fast. Not many people of the same level could keep up with them. However, the young man in front of them had a lower cultivation level, but his speed was faster than theirs. They could not accept that at all. However, Lin Xian did not answer at all. He only raised his palm and slammed it downwards. His palm was covered in black flames like a flaming demonic mountain, and it instantly enveloped the assassin. Bang! The assassin could not dodge at all, and was smashed into a bloody pulp. In just an instant, another 8th level assassin was killed. Shocking, it was really too shocking. For a moment, the entire scene was extremely silent. In the void, there were only black flames crackling and burning. The expressions of the remaining 2 assassins finally changed. They realized that Lin Xian did not kill their companion by luck, but by actual strength. Although he was only a 7th level venerable, his combat power had already surpassed theirs. Thinking of this, their bodies were drenched in cold sweat. Damn it, the information is wrong. Retreat quickly. We must inform young Master Ling Feng. The middle-aged man transmitted his voice, and then the 2 of them turned around and fled into the distance. Facing Lin Xian, they did not dare to fight at all. Want to leave? It's not that easy. Lin Xian sneered, but he did not chase after them. Instead, he stood in the void with his hands behind his back. Then, a ball of black flames appeared in his eyes and quickly surged out like clouds. In front, the 2 assassins in black fled quickly, and they were overjoyed when they sensed that Lin Xian did not chase after them. That's great, he didn't chase after them. As long as they can escape this calamity, we must report to young Master Ling Feng when we return and send out stronger assassins. However, not long after the 2 of them flew out, one of the assassins in black suddenly screamed. Countless black flames inexplicably rose from his body, burning fiercely. Damn it, get lost. The assassin in black had a pained expression as he quickly circulated his spiritual power to form a strong defense to resist. At the same time, a wave formed around him in an attempt to extinguish the black flames. However, it was completely useless. In just an instant, the defense on his body was burned, and his entire body turned into ashes in the black smoke. In the end, nothing was left. Seeing this scene, the middle-aged assassin who wanted to escape was stunned. His muscles stiffened, and he was extremely terrified. He did not dare to escape at all. How could he escape? The other party had killed his companion in an instant with just a look. Such terrifying strength could only make him feel despair. Who exactly are you? Are you a human or a ghost? This is impossible. How can you have such powerful strength? In the end, the surviving middle-aged assassin was about to go crazy. Killing an 8th level supremacy with just a lift of his hand was probably something only a 9th level supremacy or above could do. However, the other party was only a 7th level supremacy. Not only him, but even the 9th elder and the 9th elder, who were hiding in the void, were stunned and could not believe it. Is this the young master's strength? He's really powerful. Previously, they were quite dissatisfied with Lin Xian's order, because they felt that the young master was a little arrogant. However, now it seemed that it was not the case at all, because those 4 assassins were nothing in Lin Xian's eyes. Lin Xian stood in the void with his hands behind his back. The green robe on his body fluttered in the wind. His eyes were extremely deep, and there were flames flashing in them from time to time. He did not answer the middle-aged assassin's question. Instead, he said slowly, "You didn't run, which means that you're still very smart. Speak. Tell me everything you know, and I'll give you a quick death. You want to get information from me? Don't even think about it." The middle-aged assassin's expression was ferocious. The black fog on his body rolled, making him look extremely sinister. Chapter 1252. His speed was so fast that he was at the peak of the 8th heaven venerable realm. No one of the same cultivation level would be able to catch up to him. It seemed that the middle-aged assassin had used a secret technique to escape. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. 2 balls of black flames surged out of his eyes and instantly flew into the sky. Then, the 2 balls of flames rapidly enlarged in the void and burned all over the sky. Finally, they formed a cage made of black flames and instantly enveloped the middle-aged assassin. Boom, boom, boom. An earth-shaking roar sounded, and a black cage floated in the void, trapping the middle-aged assassin. Lin Xian took a step forward and instantly arrived outside the cage. "Even if you kill me, you won't get any information." The middle-aged assassin gritted his teeth, his voice filled with determination. As an assassin, his life was not the most important thing. Keeping secrets was the most important thing. Lin Xian did not ask any more questions. With a thought, a black flaming hand appeared from the black cage and grabbed the middle-aged assassin's head. In the next moment, Lin Xian flipped his palm, and a small black cauldron appeared in his palm. Beast Slave Seal. The black light flickered and instantly disappeared between the middle-aged assassin's brows. Soon, the middle-aged assassin gave up resisting and floated in the void like a puppet. Lin Xian did not kill him. Instead, he planted a beast slave seal on him and made him a complete slave. The flames in the sky disappeared and returned to Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian also put his hands behind his back and had no intention of attacking again. At this moment, there were no obstacles around the middle-aged assassin, but he did not escape. Not only that, but the black fog around his body also dissipated, revealing his true appearance. It was a middle-aged man with a thin face. He wore a set of black soft armor with tiny needles on it. At this moment, the middle-aged man looked at Lin Xian and shouted respectfully, "Greetings, master." Lin Xian nodded slightly. "Return to your organization and gather information for me. Remember, don't expose yourself and don't make Ling Feng suspicious." "Yes, I understand." The middle-aged man nodded with a respectful expression. If one looked carefully, they would find that her expression was normal. There were no signs of her being controlled at all. This was the power of the 10,000 Beast Cauldron. With Lin Xian's beast slave seal, no one below the king realm would be able to detect it. "Alright, you can go." Lin Xian waved his hand. After that, the middle-aged assassin bowed respectfully again, and then his body turned into a wisp of smoke and disappeared in the air. Seeing that the middle-aged assassin had left, Lin Xian's golden feather divine condors back. "Alright, the trouble has been resolved. Let's go." Lin Xian sat down with his legs crossed. "Ah, okay. Only then did Yu Fei recover from his shock?" He then asked with a puzzled expression. "Older brother Xian, are we really going to let that person go?" "Don't worry, he's my man now. Nothing will go wrong." Fei Fei nodded to Fei Fei to Lin. Yu Fei nodded. Although he didn't understand, he believed in Lin Xian. In the next moment, he activated his spirit energy again and condensed it into a palace. Then, he urged the golden feather divine condor to continue flying. Yu Fei didn't understand, but the 9th elder and the 10th elder, who were hiding in the dark, were shocked. Did the young master control that assassin just now? It should be. Judging from the assassin's respectful manner and his attitude towards the young master, he must have controlled him. Otherwise, the young master wouldn't have let him go. The 10th elder also took a deep breath. This kind of control technique is too terrifying. Even an 8th heaven venerable realm martial artist couldn't resist at all. Don't think about it. The young master is too mysterious. We just need to loyally assist the young master. The 9th elder was indeed very excited. After seeing Lin Xian's methods, his confidence increased greatly. The group flew quickly towards the Shen family's palace. At the same time, the mysterious middle-aged man also returned to the Skynet organization. No one would have thought that the famous assassin of the Blood Realm would have an organization like this. It was a lively street with shops everywhere. The people who came and went were all ordinary people. Even if there were martial artists, they were all weak martial artists. Venerables were very rare. It could be said that this was a very ordinary town. However, the middle-aged assassin landed on the street. At this moment, the black soft armor on his body had disappeared and was replaced by ordinary clothes. Not only that, but he had also changed from a murderous god to an ordinary person. No one would think that he was an assassin of the Skynet organization. The middle-aged assassin Falcon entered a very ordinary shop at this moment. It was a tailor's shop. There were only a dim-sighted old man and a 15 or 16-year-old boy inside. When the two of them saw the middle-aged man, Falcon, walk in, they nodded slightly and no longer paid attention to him. Falcon also nodded slightly and quickly passed through the shop and came to the backyard. Soon, he walked in front of a withered willow tree in the backyard. With a slap of his hand, a black hole appeared on the ground. Without any hesitation, Falcon leaped into the black hole. In the next moment, the black hole disappeared, and the ground returned to normal. Falcon, who entered the black hole, seemed to have been teleported by a formation and arrived at an extremely mysterious place. This was the Skynet organization. Falcon, didn't you go on a mission? Why are you back so soon? Falcon, who was originally normal, became weak at this moment. Blood gushed out of his body as he crazily shouted. The mission failed. Hurry and inform young Master Lingfeng. Seeing Falcon on the verge of collapse, The surrounding assassins all panicked and rushed forward to save him. Falcon, are you okay? He's seriously injured. Hurry and send him for treatment. The group of people did not suspect anything. They thought that the mission failed and Falcon was seriously injured. On the other hand, Falcon buried his face deep into the darkness, but the corners of his mouth revealed a strange smile. Half a month later, Lin Xian and his group arrived at the Windy Nation. This was also an extremely powerful nation in the Tianwu continent. The imperial family of the Windy Nation was also a top 6th grade sect. The headquarters of the Shen family was not in the Windy Nation, but Shen Lingchuan was here. Shen Lingchuan was the 9th son of the Shen family's patriarch, and an elder with real power in the Shen family. His cultivation had reached the 9th level of the Venerable Realm, and he had many important resources in his hands. He could be said to be an important figure in the Shen family. And he was also Shen Jinqia's father. This time, Shen Jinqia's birthday banquet was held in the Windy Nation. After Lin Xian and his group arrived at the Windy Nation, they felt the festive atmosphere. In the sky, rare beasts flew, and on the ground, there were many chariots galloping. These rare beasts had powerful warriors sitting cross-legged on them. Obviously, these were warriors who had come from all over the Tianwu continent to attend the birthday banquet. Chapter 1253. Blue Eye City. The atmosphere in the city was very lively, and the people who came and went were all aristocrats. The 9th elder had already made all the necessary arrangements, so Lin Xian was given the best and most luxurious residence in the city as soon as he arrived. This was the power of the Palace of Gods of War, the power of a king family. Lin Xian and the rest stayed there temporarily, waiting for the banquet to start. During this time, Yu Fei didn't stay idle and started to gather information in the city. Brother Xian, I'm almost done. Yu Fei sent the information to Lin Xian. Although there are many families here, there are only a few families that have hopes of marriage. Among them, Wu Zun has sent a young man called Duan Fei. It is said that he is the 5th young master of the Duan family. The Merry Forest has sent the 7th young master, and the Morong family has sent the 6th young master. The Divine Bird Palace has sent the second saint. The Deity Sword Manor has sent the third sword son. Hearing the report, Lin Xian nodded slightly. These families were probably the top families. And they had the most hope of marriage with the Shen family. The other families didn't have much hope. And these people didn't come here for marriage, but to find their own powers to strengthen their families. It could be said that this birthday banquet was basically an exchange between the major powers, an exchange between the younger generation. These people actually treated Jinkia's birthday banquet as a business deal. And they even want marriage? How despicable. Lin Xian snorted. A bunch of trash. How can they be worthy of Jingqiu? Soon the day of the birthday banquet arrived. Lin Xian brought Yu Fei, the ninth elder, and the rest out of the palace, and walked towards the Shen family's mansion. The road was bustling with people, and it was very lively. Along the way, the ninth elder muttered to Lin Xian, "Young master, we are not in a good situation now, so don't make enemies at the banquet." "I know." Lin Xian nodded helplessly. He knew that the Palace of Gods of War was not in a good situation now, and it was not good to make enemies. So he wouldn't take the initiative to provoke others. But if there was someone who dared to provoke him, then sorry. Just as they were talking, a low sound came from behind, like thunder, and the ground started to shake. Bang 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 bang. It was as if the earth was about to split open. The surrounding warriors also turned their heads, and their expressions changed drastically. "Fuck, get out of the way. Berserk beast." The group of people quickly retreated, opening up a path. It turned out that there was a huge golden lion running over from behind. It was an ancient beast. Its entire body was golden, as if it was made of gold. It was extraordinarily mighty. On the back of the golden lion sat a young man with an arrogant look on his face. Originally, there were many people on this road, so no one was riding on their mounts. However, the young man had no scruples as he led the golden lion on a rampage. There were even quite a few martial artists who were too slow and were sent flying by him. The golden lion roared in all directions, galloping like lightning. In the end, it actually charged towards Lin Xian and the others. Wherever he passed, countless strong wind blades were created. They were extremely sharp, cutting out terrifying cracks on the ground. Many of the wind blades even flew towards Lin Xian. Not good. Yu Fei's expression changed drastically. He could feel at least 10 wind blades flying towards them. Then his expression changed, and he looked extremely furious. The golden lion was abnormally powerful. It had reached the level of an 8-star demon general, which was equivalent to an 8-star supremacy, or even stronger. Such a demon beast was abnormally terrifying. Ordinary warriors would not dare to provoke it at all. Now they were just walking peacefully, but the other party was causing trouble for them for no reason. Lin Xian's expression was normal. He had no intention of intervening, because such a small matter did not require him to do anything. As expected, the ninth elder snorted coldly. A powerful aura surged from his body like an invisible hand, and slapped towards the side. Instantly, the wind blades were slapped away. However, their expressions did not ease because the golden lion leaped and flew over their heads. It landed in front of them and blocked the entire street. When Yu Fei and the others saw the young man on the golden toilet paper, their expressions immediately darkened. Duan Fei, the fifth young master of the Duan family, was also the person sent by the martial supremacy to form a marriage alliance with the Shen family. Hearing Yu Fei's voice transmission, Lin Xian's expression also darkened. He did not expect to meet the other party here. However, before he could say anything, someone beside him roared angrily. "Who is it? How dare you commit murder on the street and injure the disciples of the Shenxing clan?" A burly man roared crazily. As it turned out, that stretch of wind blades earlier not only attacked Lin Xian, it also enveloped all the martial artists in the vicinity. Hence, many of them were injured now. The wind blades were not simple. They were sent out by the golden lion, and could be said to be extremely terrifying. Hence, the ordinary warriors were all injured by the wind blades. Among them, many disciples of the Shenxing clan were also injured by the wind blades. Hence, the burly man was so angry. When the surrounding warriors heard the burly man's roar, they were also shocked. Shenxing clan, It's actually a 6th rank sect. I didn't expect it to be them. Looks like this is going to be troublesome. Yeah, Shinshing clan is a 6th rank sect, and they have the Shinshing 13 guardians. They are very powerful. Look at the burly man's aura. He's very powerful. I'm afraid he's one of the 13 guardians. It's possible. Things are going to get serious. That young man riding the golden lion is probably not simple. After all, not many forces dare to use an 8-star demon general as a mount. Yeah, he's at least a disciple of a 6th rank sect. Looks like there's going to be a show to watch this time. The crowd hid in the distance and discussed animatedly. However, at this moment, a disdainful voice sounded from behind. Shinshing clan is nothing. How dare you provoke our young master Duan? You must be tired of living. As he spoke, a group of people riding powerful demon beasts quickly came from behind and stopped beside the golden lion. Then, these warriors all said respectfully to the young man on the golden lion, "Fifth young master, are you okay? Are you hurt?" "I'm fine. How could a bunch of trash hurt me?" The young man looked arrogant and sneered disdainfully. The surrounding warriors were unusually angry. First, they were attacked for no reason, and now they were called trash. How could they not be angry? However, the other party's group was too big. They did not dare to fight back. However, the burly man from the Shinshing clan did not seem to have such concerns. His character was irritable to begin with. Moreover, he had just been attacked. Now that he was being humiliated, how could he endure it? "You're courting death. Who are you calling trash? Little bastard, believe it or not, I'll cut your head off and kick it like a ball." Although the burly man knew that the other party's identity was extraordinary, he could not hold it in anymore. "How dare you? You're courting death." Chapter 1254. You must be tired of living. Do you know who our young master is? How dare you speak so rudely? Kneel down and cut off your tongue. Then I can spare your life. If you offend us, your Shinshing clan will die a horrible death. On the golden lion, Duan Fei sneered. "Did you hear that? Hurry up and do as I say. Are you waiting for your clan to be destroyed?" "Humph, how arrogant. I don't think you can destroy my Shinshing clan." The burly man snorted coldly. A powerful aura erupted from his body. The pressure of an 8th heaven supremacy enveloped the surroundings. "Humph, you're only an 8th heaven supremacy. You're a peerless expert in the eyes of ordinary people, but you're nothing to us. I'll give you one last chance. Kneel down and accept your death." "You're asking for death." The burly man from the Shinshing clan was furious. He had never been humiliated like that. Hence, he stomped his foot and charged forward like a wild beast. "Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Beside Duan Fei, an elder in gray robes exuded killing intent. However, Duan Fei waved his hand and stopped the elder in gray. "Elder, there's no need for you to do it. Let me do it. I haven't exercised for a long time. Today I'll play with him." As soon as he finished speaking, Duan Fei's figure flashed and flew forward like a ghost. In an instant, he arrived in front of the burly man. The burly man from the Shinshing clan was overjoyed. He didn't expect Duan Fei to be so bold as to fight him alone. This time, he would let Duan Fei know how powerful he was. Raging waves. The burly man threw out a punch. The terrifying fist force surged out like a wave. The power contained in the punch was extremely strong. A 7th heaven supremacy would probably be blown apart immediately. However, Duan Fei sneered. His body became extremely strange. In an instant, he dodged the fist shadows that filled the sky. At the same time, he stretched out his palm and slapped the burly man. Slap. A crisp slap sounded. Then the burly man from the Shinshing clan trembled and retreated. The fist shadows that filled the sky instantly disappeared. The burly man also retreated in a sorry state. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. There was a clear handprint on half of his face. What? How is that possible? He dodged it. Seeing this scene, everyone around was stunned. Originally, they were very dissatisfied with Duan Fei's group because the other party's attitude was too arrogant and actually insulted all of them. However, none of them dared to make a move. Fortunately, the big man from the Shinshing clan had made a move. Everyone was overjoyed. thinking that the burly man would be able to teach the other party a lesson. However, he had never imagined that the arrogant young man would be so powerful. With just one move, he had forced the big man from the Xinqing clan to retreat. Impossible. How could you break my fist technique? The muscular man from the Xinqing sect also had a look of disbelief on his face. A moment later, he gritted his teeth and charged forward again. However, Duan Fei only sneered in disdain. His body disappeared like a ghost, and the crisp sound of a slap rang out once again. The burly man was sent flying again, and a bright red palm print appeared on the left side of his face. I already told you that you're trash, but you didn't believe me, Duan Fei said disdainfully. Today, I'll properly teach you how trash should speak. After saying that, his figure flashed again, and he quickly flew forward. Not good. Seeing Duan Fei's actions, the burly man from the Xinqing sect's expression changed drastically. In the next moment he roared, "Fleetfoot stride." Now he did not dare to fight against Duan Fei, because Duan Fei's strength far surpassed his. Therefore, he immediately used the Fleetfoot stride. Although the burly man had a huge body and was as steady as a mountain, when he used the Fleetfoot stride, his speed was extremely fast. Most people present could not even see his trajectory clearly. However, Duan Fei sneered. Competing with me in speed? You're really looking for death. He sneered. Then his expression became even more blurry, and the palm in his hand slapped down wildly. Slap! Slap! A series of slaps rang out. The burly man kept retreating, until he finally crashed into a wall. His entire face was completely swollen, like a pig's head. Elder! The disciples of the Xinqing sect were so frightened that their expressions changed drastically. They screamed crazily, and the burly man was so angry that he went crazy. Disgrace! This was an absolute disgrace. Duan Fei was stronger than him. He could have won in one move, but Duan Fei did not do so. Instead, he kept slapping him. Not only was he slapping his face, but he was also slapping the Xinqing sect's face. The surrounding people were also extremely shocked. They did not dare to speak. There was nothing they could do. Even an 8th heaven venerable was slapped repeatedly. They were no match for Duan Fei. How dare you insult the Xinqing sect? I'll kill you. The disciples who were tracking Duan Fei's movements finally could not hold it in anymore. They charged forward as if they had gone crazy. Stop. Come back. The burly man roared crazily. He knew how powerful Duan Fei was. His disciples were no match for Duan Fei. If they charged forward now, they would undoubtedly die for nothing. However, the disciples did not stop at all, as if they had gone crazy. A bunch of ants dare to behave atrociously in front of me. Duan Fei was very disdainful. He raised his finger, and several cold rays of light flew out like lightning. No! Seeing this, the burly man let out a cry of despair. The cold rays of light were so powerful that no one below the 8th heaven venerable realm could withstand them. The cold rays of light were like ice blades, emitting a shocking murderous aura. As soon as the aura was released, everyone was shocked. Even the crazy disciples trembled and regained their senses. When they saw the cold rays of light flying towards them, their faces were filled with despair. However, they could not dodge them at all. Just as the disciples were about to die, the void trembled. An invisible hand seemed to form in the air, and instantly slapped the cold rays of light away. What? He's not dead. Someone attacked him. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. The burly man from the Xinqing sect also heaved a sigh of relief. However, Duan Fei's face darkened. Someone actually dared to attack him in front of him. He must have a death wish. In the next moment, his eyes were like lightning as he stared at Lin Xian. You're courting death. How dare you attack me in front of me? Break your arms and I can spare your life. Otherwise, you and the people around you will all die. Hearing this, the martial artists around Lin Xian were terrified. Their eyes were filled with fear. However, Lin Xian did not care about him at all. Instead, he turned around and looked at the disciples from the Xinqing sect. Are you all okay? Thank you for saving us. We're fine. The disciples looked at Lin Xian with gratitude. The burly man kept thanking him. Thank you, young master. Thank you. Seeing that Lin Xian ignored him, Duan Fei's face became extremely gloomy. He looked at the people from the Xinqing sect, and then revealed a sinister smile. Don't think that you can avoid this just because someone saved you. I'm not happy today, so all of you must die. Humph, I admit that you're powerful. However, the Xinqing sect is not to be trifled with. If we really fight, I guarantee that you won't be able to gain any advantage. How dare you threaten us? Chapter 1255. How dare you threaten us? The guards beside Duan Fei sneered. Let me tell you, we are from the Palace of Ares, and our young master is the fifth young master of the Palace of Ares. Do you think that with our status we would be afraid of the Xinqing sect? What a joke. What? The Palace of Ares? They are from the Palace of Ares. The surrounding crowd was shocked, but the warriors from the Xinqing sect were in despair. The Xinqing sect was indeed a powerful 6th grade sect, and did not fear other factions, but they had no hope against the Palace of Ares. The Palace of Ares was a sovereign family, an existence above any other faction. No one expected that the arrogant young man before them was from the Palace of Ares. Since when did the Palace of Ares have such scum? Why didn't I know? At that moment Lin Xian spoke. Scum like you shouldn't tarnish the reputation of the Palace of Ares. We don't have trash like you. What did you say? Say it again. Duan Fei was enraged. I'm not from the Palace of Ares? Ha 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 ha. I'm dying of laughter. The surrounding guards sneered. They looked at Lin Xian, as if they were looking at a dead man. Kid, I think your head was kicked by a donkey. How dare you say that we're not from the Palace of Ares? What a joke. Open your dog eyes and see what this is. A few of the guards retracted the light on their bodies, revealing black armor. On the armor, there was a blade and a sword that crossed each other. It was the totem of the Palace of Ares. That's the symbol of the Palace of Ares. They really are from the Palace of Ares. Originally, the crowd was still doubtful when they heard Lin Xian's words. However, when they saw the symbol on Duan Fei and the others, their faces were filled with despair. No one dared to impersonate the symbol of the Palace of Ares. However, the 9th elder snorted. How dare you talk back to the young master? Slap them. Young master? What? The guards beside Duan Fei sneered. However, before they could finish their words, they were sent flying by a huge palm of light. The people who had spoken rudely were all sent flying. Their faces were swollen like a pig's head, and all their teeth fell out. How dare you hit us? You dare to attack the palace of gods of war. The group of people crawled up from the ground, looking extremely ferocious. In front of the young master, you have no right to call yourselves members of the palace of gods of war. The 9th elder's voice was cold with a strong killing intent. Young master? Duan Fei was taken aback. Then, as if he had recalled something, he let out a cold laugh. So it's you? You still dare to show up? You're courting death. Duan Fei sneered. He now knew Lin Xian's identity. Originally, we were still thinking about how to find you, but we didn't expect you to come out on your own, and even come here to die. The heavens are helping me. 5th young master, are you saying that this brat is that person? The guards around Duan Fei were also shocked. Ha ha ha, let me kill him to prevent future troubles. Many people revealed murderous looks. There's no need for that. I'll do it myself. Duan Fei grinned savagely. Of course I have to kill such a good prey myself. After saying that, he stood out again and stared at Lin Xian. In the next instant, his entire person became blurry and turned into a ray of light. The palm in his hand was raised high and slapped toward Lin Xian. It looked like he wanted to repeat his previous action and slap Lin Xian a few times. When the surrounding cultivators saw this scene, they all shook their heads and sighed. In their opinion, Lin Xian was going to be unlucky. One had to know that Duan Fei was someone who could even oppress an 8th level supremacy, let alone Lin Xian, a 7th level supremacy. But this time they were wrong. Lin Xian looked at Duan Fei, who was flying toward him, and stood still like a mountain. He waited until Duan Fei was close before he attacked. This attack was like a bolt of lightning, swift to the extreme. Slap. A crisp slap sounded, and that sound made everyone's hearts tremble violently. However, the one who was hit was not Lin Xian, but Duan Fei. Duanfei screamed and flew backward. Half of his face was swollen, and all of his teeth were broken. What? Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned and could not believe it. Even the guards that Duanfei brought were stunned as if they had seen a ghost. You dare hit me? Duanfei shook his head frantically. Impossible, how could you hit me? I don't believe it. And the answer he got was another slap. 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 A crisp sound rang out, and Duanfei flew up like a top again. In the end, his entire face was swollen like a pig's head, and he did not look human at all. I'm going to kill you. Duanfei was mad with anger. He was the fifth young master of the Duan family. When had he ever been humiliated like this? The surrounding cultivators were also shocked and could not believe it. One had to know that Duanfei was very terrifying. Previously, such a powerful Xinqing sect expert had been defeated by him. But now, he was beaten up by a 7th level supremacy. This was unbelievable. Duanfei could not take it anymore, so he charged at Lin Xian again. You don't know what's good for you. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and a trace of killing intent appeared in his eyes. In the next moment, a trace of thunder surged out of his fingertip, quickly forming a sword qi that slashed forward. Poof! The thunder sword pierced through Duanfei's heart, nailing him to the ground. Ah! Duanfei screamed in pain, his eyes filled with fear. He did not expect Lin Xian to kill him in one move. No! Can! Boom! Duanfei's head tilted and he died. It was a pity that he did not believe that Lin Xian could kill him, so he did not even activate his defensive armor. This scene shocked everyone. The burly man from the Xinqing sect's mind went blank. He could not believe it. Was this really a 7th level supremacy? It was too terrifying. The surrounding people were even more terrified. The young master of the Duan family was dead. This was a shocking event. 5th young master. The people from the Duan family went crazy and quickly came to Duanfei's side. Bang! One of the guards pulled out the thunder sword, while the others took out elixirs in an attempt to save Duanfei. However, this sword contained the burly man's sword soul, and was extremely powerful. The moment it pierced through, it destroyed Duanfei's life force. Now even the Daluo golden pill could not save him. The guard shouted crazily with ferocious expressions. Brat, you dare to kill the 5th young master. You're dead. All of you must die. I will use your blood to pay tribute to the 5th young master. The group of guards roared angrily. Among them, the gray-robed elder's hair was flying, and his body was full of killing intent. He was Duanfei's guardian, and was responsible for his safety. However, now that his master had been killed, he could not report to his superiors. Therefore now, he had to kill Lin Xian to atone for his sins. With a roar, the gray-robed elder walked over quickly like a god of death. On the side, the golden lion also roared. Its eyes were extremely cold as it stared at Lin Xian. In the next moment, it raised its huge environmental beast claw and slapped at Lin Xian. Chapter 1256. The surrounding crowd screamed. A powerful 8th Heaven Supremacy and a terrifying 8-star demon general were charging towards Lin Xian at the same time. The gray-robed elder was extremely powerful and was an extremely powerful existence, even among 8th Heaven Supremacies. The golden lion beside him was even more terrifying. Probably not many 8th Heaven Supremacies could fight against it. At this moment, these two terrifying existences were charging towards Lin Xian at the same time, causing everyone's expression to change. However, Lin Xian's expression was normal. He waved his arms and faced the enemy. A dazzling sword chi appeared on his left hand and slashed towards the gray-robed elder like a peerless divine sword. On the other hand, he executed the dragon-capturing hand with his right hand. Two true dragon-like spiritual energy hands rushed forward quickly. Boom! The sword chi was sharp and carried boundless blood-red killing intent. It was extremely violent and instantly slashed the gray-robed elder's body, causing a loud boom. Although the gray-robed elder was powerful, he had no choice but to dodge the sword chi. His body retreated quickly like a ghost. What? He retreated? Everyone was shocked and could not believe that such a powerful gray-robed elder was actually forced back by a single strike. However, what shocked them even more was yet to come. The dragon-capturing hand that Lin Xian executed transformed into two huge dragons and quickly coiled around the golden lion. Roar! The golden lion roared crazily. The golden blood on its body soared into the sky and dyed the entire sky red. The powerful force caused the entire city to tremble. However, even so, it was still unable to break free from the dragon-capturing hand's restraint and was trapped by the two huge dragons. Everyone's eyes widened in disbelief. That was an 8-star demon general. Moreover, it was an ancient mutated beast like the golden lion. It was extremely powerful. No 8th Heaven Supremacies could fight against it. Perhaps only 9th Heaven Supremacies could subdue it. However, a 7th Heaven youth had trapped the golden lion with a single strike. This was simply too shocking. Although the Duan family cultivators were furious, they were all stunned when they saw this scene. They did not know what to do. The gray-robed elder stabilized himself, and a deep fear appeared in his eyes. He did not expect the other party to be so strong that he could withstand both his and the golden lion's attacks at the same time. This wasn't good news for them. After all, there were two elders from the Palace of War Gods following behind them. Both of them were extremely powerful existences. Even he did not have any confidence in defeating them. Therefore, the gray-robed elder snorted coldly and decided to retreat. He would wait until he gathered more people. Anyway, he knew that Lin Xian was going to attend the Shen family's birthday party. As long as he brought his men here before the party ended, he would definitely be able to kill him. Go! The gray-robed elder waved his hand and led a few powerful guards to rescue the golden lion. Then he flew out of the city. Bang bang bang. But soon they were bounced back. Countless ripples appeared in the originally transparent void. It was as if an invisible wall had trapped them. What's the situation? The gray-robed old man's face was gloomy as he had a bad premonition. The surrounding warriors were also alarmed. Elder, it's not good. We're trapped here. There are invisible walls in all directions. What? He dared to trap us. Hearing this, the gray-robed elder was shocked. Stop struggling. You won't be able to break this array in a short period of time. Lin Xian said coldly. Under his feet, there were mysterious inscriptions spreading in all directions. He was the one who had set up the invisible array. At this moment, the surrounding warriors had already retreated out of fear. Therefore, only the Duan family and Lin Xian were in the array. Brat, you are too arrogant. Although you had the upper hand just now, it doesn't mean that you can kill us. The gray-robed elder roared. You will know if I can or can't. Lin Xian's voice was cold. He had no intention of letting these people go. Elder, what should we do? The Duan family warriors asked. This array is indeed strange. If we forcefully break it, it won't be completed in a short period of time. Therefore, what we need to do now is to fight with the other party. The Shen family probably knows about the commotion here. Don't worry. As long as we wait for the Shen family to arrive, we will be safe. Don't forget that the Shun family is our Duan family's friend. Yes, this is the Shun family's territory. That brat won't dare to do anything. Hearing the gray-robed elder's words, the Duan family warriors were relieved. Then, they looked at Lin Xian with ferocious expressions. I don't believe that no matter how strong this brat is, he can resist all of us. Why don't we take this opportunity to kill him? All right. The gray-robed elder nodded. He also decided to give it a try. Everyone listen to my order. Attack. When the 15 Duan family warriors heard the order, they immediately drew their swords and sabers and unleashed a powerful aura. They quickly charged towards Lin Xian. Young master. Seeing the warriors charging over, the ninth elder shouted softly. However, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. There was no need. He would do it himself. Hearing this, the ninth elder nodded and retreated to the back. If they were still worried about Lin Xian before, they were not worried at all after the battle just now. This was because they now knew that Lin Xian was extremely powerful. No one in the 8th heaven of the honorable realm could hurt him. Seeing that Lin Xian was attacking alone, the 15 Duan family warriors immediately revealed a sinister smile. They were not ordinary warriors. They were all above the 7th heaven of the honorable realm. Many of them had even reached the peak of the 7th heaven. Although their strength was not comparable to an 8th heaven of the honorable realm, they were a team and could unleash powerful array techniques. It could be said that they were the elites of the Duan family. The 15 of them kept changing their positions in the air and formed a strange array. They quickly charged towards Lin Xian. At the same time, the sabers and swords in their hands erupted with dazzling light as they slashed out quickly. The 15 rays of light were extremely bright like rainbows. With the support of the array, their power was even more terrifying. Even an 8th heaven of the honorable realm would not dare to take it head-on. Not only that, the golden lion and the gray-robed elder did not hold back either. Instead, they quickly unleashed 2 terrifying attacks. The gray-robed elder unleashed a spiral-shaped ray of light that easily tore through the void. It carried a biting cold murderous intent. On the other side, the golden lion's vital energy and blood soared into the sky. It condensed into a golden lion shadow in the air and quickly pounced towards Lin Xian. It could be said that at this moment, endless killing moves surrounded Lin Xian from all directions. The Duan family? It's time to collect some interest. Lin Xian muttered. An extremely sharp light bloomed in his eyes. At the same time, a strange black flame flashed across them. In the next moment, the great dragon sword soul, the blood sword inheritance, and the black flame martial soul in his body circulated together and erupted with terrifying energy. Chapter 1257. Lin Xian's body was surrounded by a boundless sea of blood. Upon closer inspection, one would realize that the sea of blood was made up of streaks of blood-colored sword qi. Not only that, but there were also countless black flames in the sea of blood. They danced and emitted a terrifying heat. Even those martial artists outside the array formation felt a temperature that made them tremble. Kill! With a roar, Lin Xian waved his arm. The Lone Star sword in his hand emitted a dazzling sword radiance as he slashed forward. The sea of blood surged. The sword radiance was like a blood-colored dragon as it roared in all directions. In an instant, the attacks flying towards Lin Xian from all directions were quickly melted by the sea of blood and black flames. Not only that, everything in the path of the sword qi began to burn. Whether it was the 15 terrifying attacks, the gray-robed elder's sword qi, or the golden lion's shadow, all of them were burning. It was a shocking scene. Although no one could hear it, they could imagine it. Not only that, but there were also countless screams. Among them, 7 warriors were swept by the blood-colored sword and immediately burned. They only had time to scream once before they were burned to ashes. Not only them, but even the armor on their bodies was burned to ashes, leaving no trace of it behind. It was as if they had never appeared. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered. The sword radiance in his hand flickered, and the sea of blood and black flames surrounded him. At this moment, his aura was fierce and murderous. He was like a peerless god of death with a terrifying killing intent that could crush everything. It was as if everything in the world had to bow down to him under this aura. What? He broke the Duan family's elite formation in an instant. And he killed half of them. How is this possible? The remaining warriors of the Duan family were horrified. Their eyes were filled with shock. Even the gray-robed elder's pupils constricted. The golden lion let out an uneasy roar. He's not human. He's a demon. Run! Someone screamed. Finally, the remaining warriors were scared. They turned and ran, not daring to fight anymore. They had long lost their previous arrogance. At this moment, they were like stray dogs trying to escape. There was nothing they could do about it. Lin Xian's attack was too terrifying, directly destroying all their confidence. Not to mention those people from the Duan clan. Even more than half of the martial artists outside were paralyzed on the ground at this moment, breaking out in cold sweat. Trying to run? Lin Xian's eyes flickered as boundless black flames strangely gushed out. In the next moment, the 8 fleeing figures froze on the spot. They found that their bodies were completely frozen and did not listen to their commands. Not only that, a terrifying and boundless feeling of panic rose from the bottom of their hearts. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the next moment, their bodies suddenly burst into flames. Balls of black flames burned fiercely, blooming with hellish light. Not only their bodies, but even their armors and defenses were set ablaze, emitting cracking sounds. In the end, the 8 of them screamed miserably. Nothing was left behind, only a ball of flames rolling on the ground. In an instant, all 15 martial artists were annihilated. What? Impossible? How is this possible? The gray-robed elder's face turned ugly. Then he looked at the golden lion. Don't hide your strength anymore. Hurry up and kill him. Roar. The golden lion roared furiously and raised its huge head. Then it quickly charged towards Lin Xian. It was like a small golden mountain. As it moved quickly, the entire ground buzzed and trembled. Not only that, with every step it took, the golden lion's aura became stronger. In the end, the golden aura that filled the sky dyed the entire sky golden yellow. Meanwhile, the golden lion's aura had also reached its peak. The huge golden palm slapped over and instantly turned into a small mountain. It descended from the sky and exploded the entire void. At the same time, 9 illusionary figures appeared behind the golden lion. They were like real ferocious beasts. Each of them was extremely powerful and could easily tear an 8th heaven supremacy apart. This time, the golden lion was truly enraged. Stars. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered as he pointed his arm towards the sky. Instantly, countless sword chi shot into the sky and collided with each other in the sky. There was a burst of dazzling light, forming countless star-like light balls. Then, under Lin Xian's control, they quickly descended. The stars in the sky descended with powerful energy and quickly bombarded the 9 illusionary figures. Immediately, the 9 golden lion illusionary figures were destroyed. Not only that, Lin Xian's palms continuously formed seals and countless rays of light in the sky condensed again, forming a huge body. Qiongqi. It's the ferocious beast Qiongqi. In the distance, the martial artists screamed in horror when they saw this scene. He could actually summon Qiongqi. That was too terrifying. Countless people were shocked. However, some 8th heaven supremacies shook their heads. It wasn't the real Qiongqi, but a manifestation of spiritual energy. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief, but their hearts also trembled violently. It was simply too shocking to be able to manifest such a terrifying ferocious beast. In the sky, a vast sea of spiritual energy quickly condensed and formed the terrifying Qiongqi. As soon as Qiongqi appeared, it roared into the sky and quickly charged forward. Immediately, it broke the golden lion's huge golden claws. Roar! Blood splattered everywhere as the golden lion roared angrily. It had never thought that it would suffer such a great loss in the hands of a human youth. Meanwhile, the surrounding people were stunned. In just one move, Qiongqi had injured the golden lion. One had to know that it was just an illusion. It was actually so terrifying. The gray-robed elder's face was also pale. He knew how powerful the golden lion was, and that even he couldn't defeat it. However, in just an instant, the golden lion's huge paw was broken. However, the golden lion was an ancient mutated beast after all, and was very powerful. It had reached the level of an 8-star demon general. Although its paw was broken, its aura didn't weaken. Instead, it became even more ferocious. With a furious roar, the golden lion's figure quickly pounced on Qiongqi. Immediately, the two beasts collided rapidly in the void, creating a deafening roar as if thousands of lightning bolts had struck. Luckily, it blocked it. Seeing that the golden lion had gone crazy, the gray-robed elder heaved a sigh of relief. However, Lin Xian sneered. In the next instant, his palm changed again. Immediately, the void trembled and a huge shadow appeared. What? It appeared again. No way, how could his spiritual energy be so strong? Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. This was because they knew that it required an extremely large amount of spiritual energy to condense something like Qiongqi. Perhaps even an 8th heaven supremacy could only condense one. However, now a 7th heaven supremacy youth actually had the energy to condense something else. This was simply too shocking. Chapter 1258. The gray-robed elder's expression changed as his heart skipped a beat. Oh no, we can't let him succeed. It was already difficult for the golden lion to fight against a Qiongqi. If the other party used another skill, the golden lion would not be able to block it. At that time, he would be in danger. The gray-robed elder did not hesitate. He took out a half-earth rank artifact from his storage ring. Then, he turned into a gray light and quickly stabbed at Lin Xian. The sword was silent, and there was a dazzling light around it. If one did not pay attention, they would not have noticed it. In the sky, a huge shadow appeared. It was a giant golden bird. Its huge body covered the entire sky. Skyrock, it's the ancient beast Skyrock. Everyone was shocked. Although they knew that it was only condensed by spiritual power, they were still shocked by the aura. It was too realistic. If one did not know the inside story, they would have thought that the ancient beast Skyrock had been resurrected. In fact, this was normal. The 9 changes of the firmament was an earth-rank martial art. Its power was unpredictable. Moreover, Lin Xian still had the great dragon sword soul that could simulate everything. Therefore, the ferocious beasts were no different from real beasts, except that they were not alive. The moment the Skyrock appeared, it displayed a terrifying aura. Then, its sharp claws grabbed at the void and locked onto the gray-robed elder. In the next moment, a huge force rushed toward the gray-robed elder and sent him flying. The half-earth rank artifact was broken in half. The gray-robed elder's body was sent flying and smashed into the ground, forming a terrifying human-shaped crater. The terrifying sound shook the sky. The momentum had alarmed the Shen family's martial artists. In fact, it was not only the Shen family's martial artists. The martial artists of the major forces in Blue Ice City were all alarmed. At this moment, those people ran over to watch the show. However, no one made a move. The Shen family had also sent a few elders to rush over. These elders were furious. They did not expect that someone would dare to make a move in Blue Ice City. This was obviously looking down on the Shen family. I want to see who dares to be presumptuous here. However, in the next moment, a huge figure suddenly appeared in front of them. Following that was a terrifying aura. What, the ancient beast Skyrock? How is this possible? The 3 elders of the Shen family were extremely shocked. They looked at each other and saw the fear in each other's eyes. After that, the 3 of them sped up at the same time. The moment the giant Skyrock appeared, It sent the gray-robed elder flying. Then it stared coldly at the golden lion. Instantly, the golden lion's all stood up. He felt a great sense of threat. With a furious roar, it fiercely slammed into the Qiongqi, forcing it to retreat. However, Lin Xian did not give it a chance. Sky Rock Transformation Golden Sword. The seal on his palm changed as Lin Xian activated his killer move. Suddenly, the huge body of the heavenly Peng in the sky emitted a blazing light. Every feather on its body turned into a golden sword that pierced downwards. For a moment, the entire space was filled with golden swords. 108,000 swords were all stabbing towards the golden lion. The golden lion king was extremely furious, but he couldn't resist at all. Soon, he was pierced by countless golden swords, and his huge body was nailed to the ground. Blood flowed, converging into a river, releasing a pungent bloody smell. What? The golden lion king is dead. Looking at this scene, everyone was shocked. Even the cultivators from the various major forces were extremely shocked. That was because the golden lion king was extremely brave. Even they were not confident of defeating him. But now, he was slaughtered so easily. The gray-robed elder was also stunned. His eyes were filled with fear. Now he finally understood that the young man in front of him was not someone they could provoke. However, at this moment 3 powerful auras came from afar, accompanied by an angry roar. Who dares to cause trouble in Blue Eye City? Hearing this voice, the gray-robed elder was ecstatic. He shouted crazily, "Friends of the Shin family, save me!" The 3 powerful auras turned into 3 figures and stopped in the sky. They were a man, a woman, and an elder. The 3 of them were the elders sent by the Shin family. The 3 of them looked at the scene in front of them. Their pupils constricted and their faces were filled with shock. In particular, the huge corpse of the Golden Lion King shocked them. They naturally knew who had died. They were warriors sent by the Duan family, a force that was not weaker than them. However, at this moment they were killed by someone. When they saw Duan Fei nailed to the ground, the 3 Shin family elders could not help but cry out. They did not expect that not only was the Golden Lion King dead, but the most important person, Duan Fei, was also dead. "The 3 of you save me," the gray-robed elder shouted crazily again. "Elder Duan, don't worry. We will ensure your safety." The 3 of them had always been on good terms with the Duan family. So at this moment, they naturally wanted to fight on the gray-robed elder's side. After saying that, the 3 of them quickly rushed over. Looking at the 3 figures, Lin Xian smiled. The battle just now had destroyed the formation he had set up, so there was no space enchantment around them. The 3 Shin family elders were naturally unimpeded, and quickly came to the gray-robed elder's side. However, the smile on Lin Xian's face grew wider. He slowly raised his arm and pointed forward. Void-shattering finger. Suddenly, a purple light flew out like lightning and instantly streaked across space. "Oh no! You're courting death. How dare you!" The 3 of them roared and joined forces to stop him. The surrounding warriors were also shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian to dare to attack in front of the Shin family. However, it was all in vain. The void-shattering finger disappeared without a trace, and was extremely mysterious. In an instant, it passed through the combined defense of the 3, and pierced through the gray-robed elder's glabella. Poof! A thumb-sized hole appeared in the gray-robed elder's glabella, and blood splattered everywhere. The light in his eyes gradually disappeared. Until his death, he still could not believe that Lin Xian could kill him under the protection of the 3 great experts of the Shin family. Plop! The gray-robed elder's corpse fell, sending a cloud of dust into the air. The surrounding crowd was stunned. For a moment, the scene was extremely silent and extremely strange. The 3 experts of the Shin family were also stunned. They did not expect Lin Xian to succeed. However, in the next moment, the 3 of them trembled in anger. Impudent, he was too impudent. Lin Xian dared to kill in front of them. He did not take them seriously at all. Moreover, the person who was killed was their ally, and a member of a sovereign family. They could not explain this at all. Therefore, in the next moment, the 3 of them looked at Lin Xian with undisguised killing intent in their eyes. "Brat, you're too impudent. Kneel down and accept your death. Come back with me obediently," and accept your punishment. Otherwise, you'll end up in a terrible state. Chapter 1259. However, Lin Xian remained calm. The 9th elder and the 10th elder behind him snorted and quickly walked forward to protect Lin Xian. How dare you question our young master? Does the Shen family want to start a war with the Ares palace? Hearing that, the 3 experts from the Shen family froze and stopped in their tracks. They looked at the 9th elder and the 10th elder, their expressions fluctuating. What did you say? You said he's your young master. The middle-aged man among the 3 frowned. What young master? Why don't I know him? No matter who he is, he has to be judged by the Shen family for committing murder in Blue Eye City. Who do you think you are? How dare you judge our young master? Get lost. The 9th elder shouted angrily. The terrifying sound wave turned into a torrent of energy. It quickly charged forward. How dare you attack me? You're courting death. The middle-aged man shouted angrily and similarly struck out with his palm. The 2 waves of energy exploded, and the middle-aged man from the Shen family was forced back dozens of steps. The blood in his body was in turmoil. What? How is this possible? The other 2 elders' expressions changed drastically. They did not expect the old man in front of them to be so terrifying. The middle-aged man who was forced back was trembling. He opened his mouth with difficulty, but only spat out a mouthful of blood. I can't be bothered with you juniors. If I remember correctly, Chongkong is here. Ask him to come out and see me. Ordinary martial artists might not have heard of this name, but the 3 Shen family experts and the people from the surrounding major forces all trembled. Their eyes were filled with shock. Chongkong was the number 1 elder in Lingchuan Mansion and was also the 7th elder in the Shen family headquarters. Such a person's strength was terrifying. He was definitely not someone the 3 experts from the Shen family could compare to. Haha, Mo Yin, your temper is still so irritable. At that moment an old laugh sounded. Hearing this voice, everyone was shocked, and the 3 experts of the Shen family also became respectful. Greetings, Elder Chongkong. The 3 of them bowed respectfully to the void. Elder Chongkong, could it be that Elder Chongkong really came? Everyone was shocked. They did not expect to see such a terrifying person here. Sure enough, in the next moment, the void fluctuated slightly, and an old figure appeared before everyone. Humph. Seeing that figure, the 9th elder coldly snorted. Chongkong, these juniors of yours aren't much. They actually dared to scold my young master. Do as you see fit. Young master. At this moment, everyone had solemn expressions because they could tell that the 9th elder did not fear the Qin clan's elder Chongkong at all. This meant that the other party's status was definitely not inferior to Elder Changkong's. Such a person would at least be a core elder of a sovereign clan. However, to be addressed as young master by such a person, his identity was simply unimaginable. Could it be that this young man is also a core disciple of a sovereign clan? Everyone looked at Lin Xian in shock. Elder Chongkong narrowed his eyes and carefully sized up Lin Xian. Mo Yin, could this be the young master of your palace of war? Of course. Hearing this, some people gasped. The young man in front of them was actually the young master of the palace of war. No wonder the other party dared to kill the Duan clan's martial artists, and even dared to kill the Duan clan's 5th young master. Strictly speaking, Duan Fei was probably not even a 10,000th of the young man in front of them. One had to know that the Duan clan was not the true master of the Palace of War. They were only under the Vice Palace Master. The young man in front of them was the son of the Palace Master of the Palace of War, Lin Zhan. His identity was even more honorable than Elder Chongkong and the others. After knowing Lin Xian's identity, the 3 experts from the Chen clan immediately broke out in cold sweat. Putting aside the strength of this identity, just this identity alone was enough to kill them thousands of times. In an instant, the 3 of them were terrified and their bodies trembled slightly. The vast Sky Elder also bowed slightly. Greetings, young Master Lin. Elder Chongkong, you're too polite. Lin Xian nodded slightly to return the greeting. If it was before, he would definitely respectfully address the other party as senior. However, it was different now. His identity had become the young master of the Palace of War. It could be said that other than a few people, no one had a more honorable identity than him. Therefore, even if he met the core elders of the Qin clan, he would only nod slightly. I didn't know young Master Lin was here. Please forgive me if I didn't take care of you properly. Elder Chongkong bowed slightly, then turned around and said to the 3 Qin clan warriors, "The 3 of you, come over and apologize to young Master Lin." "Young Master Lin, we have eyes but failed to recognize you. Please be magnanimous and forgive us this time." "It's fine," Lin Xian said indifferently. "My enemy is only the Duan clan. Everyone else can be my friends." Lin Xian's words undoubtedly expressed his stance. He would not rest until the Duan clan was dead. As for the other forces, as long as they allied with the Duan clan, they would be his enemy. Elder Chongkong narrowed his eyes after hearing that. He did not expect the young man in front of him to be so fierce. It was really beyond his expectations. One should know that the situation at the Palace of War was not good. Palace Master Lin Zhan was in seclusion, causing the Duan clan to become stronger and stronger. They were already suppressing the Palace of War's main branch. However, the young man in front of him was still doing this. This meant that he definitely had some confidence that he did not know about. It seemed that he had to re-evaluate his attitude towards the Palace of War. Elder Chengkong's thoughts turned. He decided to discuss this matter with the other upper echelons of the clan. Following that, Lin Xian and the others were welcomed into the Qin clan's residence under the invitation of the Qin clan's elders. Looking at Lin Xian's back view, everyone was filled with emotions. Originally, they thought that he would be in big trouble for offending the Duan clan. However, they did not expect his identity to be so shocking. Not only that, his strength was even more shocking. With a raise of his hand, he finished off the gray-robed elder, the golden lion, and other terrifying existences. This young man will probably become the next famous young giant in the Tianwu continent. That's right. How old is he? He's already so terrifying. I'm afraid that the Tianwu fourth young master was only like this back then. Everyone exclaimed. Then they seem to have thought of something. His motive for coming to the Qin clan at this time is definitely not simple. Could it be that he's also here for a marriage alliance? That's possible. It seems that the birthday banquet later will be lively. Everyone was excited and walked towards the Qin clan. The Qin clan's residence was abnormally majestic. It was even several times larger than the palace. At this moment, the Qin clan's residence was brightly lit with experts gathered. It was abnormally lively. Lin Xian's arrival attracted the attention of many people. After all, there were not many people who were qualified to have Elder Chongkong lead the way. Such a person's identity was definitely very honorable and rare. Therefore, everyone knew each other. Chapter 1260. After bringing Lin Xian to the VIP room, Elder Changkong left. Lin Xian found a place and sat down. Beside him, Yu Fei was extremely excited. Brother Xian, I'm not dreaming, right? Even the Shen family is so polite to us? He was really confused because he had never thought that a sovereign family would be so polite to them. This was something that he would never have dared to dream of. Furthermore, what shocked him even more was that Lin Xian was the son of the palace master of the Palace of Gods of War. This was too shocking. It's nothing. As long as you follow me one day, I will lead you to surpass the entire Tianwu continent. Lin Xian had such confidence. There were many people in the VIP room, and they were all sizing up Lin Xian and the others. Those who could enter were at least from the top rank 6 sects, and they might even be from the sovereign family. As for Lin Xian and the others, they had never seen them before, so they were very curious. However, when they saw the insignia on the 9th elder and the 10th elder's robes, their hearts trembled. A blade and a sword crossed each other. This was the robes of the Palace of Gods of War. At this moment, it appeared on the 9th elder. The meaning was self-evident. Needless to say, these two elders were definitely from the Palace of Gods of War. Looking at their strength and cultivation, they were also core elders in the Palace of Gods of War. As for the young man in front of them, needless to say, his identity was extremely honorable. Therefore, many sects and families came to strike up a conversation. Lin Xian was also swirling his wine. As he tasted it, he thought carefully about who among these people could become allies with the Palace of Gods of War. At this moment, a few more cultivators were invited into the VIP room. This time, the leader was not Elder Changkong but a young man. This young man was very handsome, and could even be said to be beautiful. His appearance made many women jealous. The young man invited the guests into the VIP room, and was about to leave when he inadvertently glanced at Lin Xian. When he saw Lin Xian, he was momentarily stunned, and his beautiful eyes abruptly shrank. This expression was caught by Lin Xian, and he frowned slightly. He couldn't understand why the youth had such a shocked expression. However, before he could think about it, the young man was already walking towards him. You're Lin Xian? The pretty boy asked tentatively. I am. Lin Xian nodded. And you are? My name is Shen Xiaqi. My father is Shen Lingchuan. Oh, so it's the young master of the Shen family. Why are you looking for me? Lin Xian smiled as he looked at the young master in front of him. Come here for a moment. I have something to tell you in private. Hearing this, the surrounding cultivators revealed doubtful expressions, but Lin Xian nodded slightly. All right. He could somewhat guess the young man's intentions. 9th elder, I will go out with him for a while. Don't worry, there won't be any problems. After explaining, Lin Xian followed Shen Xiaqi out of the VIP room. Lin Xian followed behind the young man, and shuttled through the Shen family mansion. They avoided many hidden sentries, and arrived at the depths of the Shen family mansion. If it were an ordinary person, they would have been scared witless upon seeing such an abnormal situation. After all, this was the Shen family mansion. However, Lin Xian was skilled and bold. Moreover, he had guessed the young man's intentions, so he wasn't too worried. After bringing Lin Xian to a secret room, Shen Xiaqi couldn't wait to ask, Do you know my sister? Your sister? Is she Jingqiu? Sure enough, you do know my sister. That's right, you're Lin Xian. Shen Xiaqi was excited. You look exactly like my sister. Big brother Lin, can you help me with something? What do you need my help with? Is it related to your sister? Yes, can you help her escape? Escape? Shen Xiaqi sighed. My sister is really pitiful. First, something went wrong with her cultivation, and now she's being used as a tool for marriage. I know she's in despair. As her younger brother, I can't just sit by and watch. Escaping isn't the best way. Moreover, with the Shen family's strength, I'm afraid we won't be able to escape for long. Lin Xian shook his head. How about this? Tell your sister to find me. I have a way to help her out of this predicament. What? There's another way. Shen Xiaqi was excited. Seeing Lin Xian nod, he said again. Don't worry, I'll call my sister over. Not long after Shen Xiaqi ran out, he came back. Not only that, he also brought someone back this time. It was a person wrapped in darkness. Her body was covered in black sand, and even her face was covered with a thick veil. Only a pair of eyes were exposed. Those eyes were bright and twinkling like stars. They were very beautiful. When Lin Xian saw those eyes, he felt a strange sense of familiarity. He knew that the figure in front of him was the girl he met 3 years ago. But he didn't expect that reality would be so cruel. In 3 years, such a beautiful and intelligent girl had fallen to such a state. But fortunately, there was always a way out. He now had the spirit medicine to cure her. "You're Lin Xian." The figure in front of him spoke faintly. Her voice had become hoarse and low, not at all like a young girl should have. She looked deeply at Lin Xian, then lowered her head. Her hands gripped her clothes uneasily, and her body trembled slightly. She was like an injured kitten, very timid. Looking at the pitiful person in front of him, Lin Xian felt a pang of pain in his heart. "It's me. I've come to find you as promised." "But I..." Hearing Lin Xian's words, Shen Jingqiu finally couldn't help but cry. She had suffered too much in the past 3 years. Now in front of Lin Xian, she couldn't take it anymore. Lin Xian slowly walked in front of Shen Jingqiu and said gently, "Since I'm here, I won't let you suffer any more." "But I'm in this state." Shen Jingqiu lowered her head. Her tears wet the veil on her face. "Don't worry, I can cure you," Lin Xian said gently. "What?" Hearing this, Shen Jingqiu's body stiffened. Shen Xiaoqi, on the other hand, exclaimed, "You can cure my sister? Really? Big brother Lin, is this true?" Shen Jingqiu couldn't believe it, because in the past 3 years, her family had thought of countless ways to cure her, but none of them could cure her, because that wasn't an ordinary flame, but the purest power of the bloodline. Even a king couldn't suppress it. But now Lin Xian said that he could cure her. This was shocking. "Don't worry, I can definitely cure you." As Lin Xian spoke, he took out a palm-sized jade teapot and a jade cup from his storage ring. "Drink this and you'll get better. Trust me." "What? Drink this?" Shen Jingqiu's body trembled. To be honest, in the past 3 years, she had been in despair because she didn't believe that there was anything in this world that could cure her. But she believed in Lin Xian. Chapter 1261. A warm current flowed into her body, following her meridians, and quickly flowing through her entire body. Following that, a warm feeling rose from her body, as if the pain caused by the bloodline power had lessened by a lot. Is this enough? Shin Jingqiu asked timidly. However, before Lin Xian could reply, Shin Xiaqi screamed, "Sister, your voice!" Voice? What's wrong with my voice? Before she could finish speaking, Shin Jingqiu was also stunned, because she found that her voice was no longer low and hoarse, but had become clear and crisp, like an oriole. This was her original voice. Could it be that this cup of tea was so miraculous? As soon as she drank it, there was a change. Now she was extremely excited, because she now completely believed that the spirit tea brought by Lin Xian could cure her. Not only that, after her voice recovered, Shin Jingqiu felt that her body was itchy, as if half of her old skin was falling off. Alright, go back and prepare. You can't meet people like this. Don't worry, you will get better. Just treat these 3 years as a dream, forget it. Lin Xian said gently. Shin Jingqiu looked at Lin Xian, her face blushing. Then she nodded heavily and ran out like a deer. Brother Lin, is my sister really cured? At the side, Shin Xiaqi was also extremely shocked. Even if he was the young master of the Shin family, and had countless treasures, he still could not believe what was happening in front of him. One must know that his sister's illness was something that even the king of the family could not cure. But now, with just a cup of spirit tea, his sister had recovered by more than half. Don't worry, your sister will definitely amaze everyone today. Lin Xian was extremely confident. From today onwards, your sister will still be the pearl of the Sky Martial continent. The main hall of the Shin family was brightly lit and bustling. A stalwart middle-aged man and a beautiful middle-aged woman came to the main hall hand in hand. These two people were Shun Lingchuan and his wife. Their arrival caused the entire main hall to quiet down. Although it was quiet, the atmosphere did not weaken. His body became more active than before. Below the stage, countless young talents from various forces were eager to give it a try. They wanted to display their most outstanding appearance, so that Shun Lingchuan and his wife would take a fancy to them. They all knew that behind this birthday party, there was a marriage alliance, but no one cared about Shin Jingqiu. That was because they knew that the other party had long been disfigured and had lost his cultivation. He was simply a cripple. What they cared more about was who Shun Lingchuan would favor, because once he did, it was very likely that he would become an important figure in the Shin family. Everyone's goal was to establish ties with the Shin family, a royal family. As for Shin Jingqiu, even if they married her, they would not take a second look at her. Shun Lingchuan and his wife stood at the front and looked at the countless young talents below. They sighed in their hearts. The things that had happened in the past 3 years had made them so worried that their hair had turned white. But they didn't want their daughter to continue being so hopeless. Therefore, they planned to find a handsome young man to marry their daughter. Although they knew that most of these people were here for the Shin family, they still hoped that someone would appear and treat their daughter with sincerity. However, seeing the current situation, Shun Lingchuan and his wife were extremely disappointed. They knew that it would be difficult to find a suitable young man today. However, since the birthday party had been held, of course, it had to continue, and it had to be extremely lively. At the beginning of the party, there were some congratulatory speeches. Everyone didn't care about these and listened casually. However, not long after, the elder on the stage suddenly changed his tone. Our Shin family's little princess is ready. Now, let's welcome our beautiful and adorable little princess to the stage. Hearing this, many people below the stage curled their lips and didn't take it seriously. There was nothing wrong with the little princess, but beautiful and adorable was nowhere near it. Who didn't know that the Shin family's little princess had long been disfigured? However, Shin Jingqiu was the star of this birthday party, so these people still glanced at her casually. However, with just one glance they were all stunned. In front of the main hall, the door on the left suddenly opened, and a beautiful figure walked in. At this moment, Shin Jingqiu's black robe was gone, and replaced by a very beautiful long dress. Not only that, the veil on her face was also taken off. However, she was still a little timid. This was because in these 3 years, other than her parents and brother, she didn't have any contact with anyone else. Now that she was facing so many people, she couldn't help but feel nervous, and even more timid. However, in the end, she still mustered up her courage and took a step forward. The moment she took a step forward, she instantly felt that all the eyes in the main hall were focused on her. Instantly, her face turned red, and her heart pounded even harder. She secretly glanced in front of her and realized that there was no hatred or disdain in those people's eyes. This allowed her to let out a slight sigh of relief. She took a deep breath and finally arrived at the main hall. In the main hall of Hui Hong, a beautiful girl stood quietly like a fairy in the human world. She was like the brightest star that lit up the entire sky. In an instant, everyone was stunned. Who on earth was this girl who was as beautiful as a fairy? Why haven't they seen or heard of her before? Could she be the little princess of the Shin family? Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe that this beautiful girl in front of them was the legendary person who had suffered a backlash from the power of the bloodline and had her face disfigured and her cultivation destroyed. This was too unbelievable. Shen Lingchuan and his wife were also shocked, especially Mother Shen. Her eyes were full of shock. You are Jingqiu Qiuo. Mother, what's wrong? Don't you recognize me? Shen Jingqiu was confused. She had left in a hurry and didn't look at herself in the mirror, so she didn't know what was going on with her. However, looking at these people's shocked expressions, she knew that she was no longer the same person she had been when she was burned. Qiuo, you are my Qiuo. That's great, you have finally recovered. Mother Shen hugged Shen Jingqiu and cried happily. Beside her, Shen Lingchuan's eyes were also red, and his body was trembling. This powerful man, who held great power in his hands, was also filled with emotions at this moment. He didn't expect his daughter to recover her looks one day. This was something that he didn't even dare to dream of. Father, mother, I am Qiuer. What's wrong with you? Don't you recognize me? Shen Jingqiu was so anxious that she was about to cry. For the past 3 years, only her parents and little brother had been with her. If her parents didn't recognize her now, her life would be over. The surrounding martial artists were all in an uproar. What? This beautiful girl is Shen Jingqiu, the legendary cripple? Chapter 1262. They did not expect the legendary person to be so beautiful. They were at a loss of what to do. At the same time, they gritted their teeth. Who was the one who spread the news that the little princess of the Shen family was disfigured? It was too abominable. They were afraid that Shen Lingchuan and the rest had already seen their previous behavior. It seemed that this marriage was impossible. Damn it, Shen Lingchuan is a sly old fox. He actually thought of such a test. Yes, we were all deceived. I did not expect him to spread such rumors for his daughter's happiness. I really did not expect it. Many people thought that Shen Jinqia's previous negative news was deliberately spread by Shen Lingchuan. His purpose was to find someone who truly loved his daughter. But they did not know that Shen Lingchuan and his wife were more shocked than all of them, because they did not know that their daughter could recover her original appearance one day. After Shen Jingqiu found out that her appearance had recovered, she was so emotional that she cried. Brother Lin Xian, it's Brother Lin Xian. He saved me. Shen Jingqiu knew that it must be that cup of spiritual tea that had completely healed her injuries. Thinking of Lin Xian, she suddenly smiled through her tears, revealing a beautiful smile. Suddenly, the young warriors in the hall were all mesmerized. Many of them could not help but walk forward, wanting to strike up a conversation with Shen Jingqiu. Now their intestines were green with regret. If they had shown a little bit of concern for Shen Jingqiu before, they were afraid that things would be different now. Seeing those impulsive young warriors, the guards of the Shen family rushed over to maintain order, fearing that there would be a riot in the hall. Mother Shen pulled Shen Jingqiu and quickly left through the side door. Xiu'er, let's go. Let's find a place to tell Mother what happened. Mother Shen's face was anxious. As for how the birthday banquet would turn out, she did not care. Now her daughter was the most important thing in her eyes. Seeing Shen Jingqiu leave, the young warriors in the hall were even more excited. Originally, they were a little reluctant about the marriage alliance. But now, they wished they could break their heads to snatch this spot. Those older generation figures weren't to be trifled with. Thus, the various elders and patriarchs of the various large powers all came over to curry favor with Shen Lingchuan. Shen Lingchuan was naturally in a good mood, but he did not mention a word about his daughter's marriage. Previously, he had only wanted to find someone who treated Xiu'er sincerely, because he had no other choice. But now, his daughter has recovered her looks and has become the pearl of the Sky Martial continent. As for the marriage alliance, to hell with it. Young Lord Lin Xian, our master invites you over. Elder Chongkong personally came to invite Lin Xian over. Although he didn't know why Shen Lingchuan wanted to invite Lin Xian over, he knew that it wasn't a simple matter, because he had also heard about Shen Jinqia's matter. He was also extremely shocked after hearing the news. Lin Xian wasn't surprised that Shen Lingchuan wanted to meet him, because he was very confident in the immortal tea. Furthermore, he knew from the situation in the Great Hall that Shen Jingqiu had completely recovered. Shen Lingchuan and his wife were naturally very curious about how Lin Xian could recover from an injury that even a king couldn't treat. They would definitely be extremely shocked. At this time, his role in this matter would be revealed. Thus, Shen Lingchuan would definitely come to find him. Young Lord Lin, Master is inside. You can go in. Elder Chongkong brought Lin Xian to a hall. Lin Xian nodded before pushing the door open and entering. Shen Lingchuan and his family were inside, chatting and laughing nonstop. Until now they were still very excited. Big brother Lin, you're here. Shen Xiaqi immediately ran over when he saw Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled at him, before looking at Shen Lingchuan and his wife. Madam Shen from the Shen family. Lin Xian nodded slightly. Young Lord Lin, please take a seat. Shen Lingchuan and his wife were very excited as they invited Lin Xian in. Shen Jinqia's face was also red. Big brother Lin Xian, you're here. Shen Lingchuan and his wife had already found out from their daughter that this young man in front of them had given their daughter a cup of spiritual tea. Thus her injuries were all healed. When they heard this news, they were extremely shocked. Needless to say, that spiritual tea was definitely a rare treasure. An injury that even a king couldn't treat could be healed by a cup of spiritual tea. This was too shocking. Shen Lingchuan and his wife thought that Lin Xian had an ulterior motive for coming here. However, when they found out that their daughter and Lin Xian had known each other for 3 years, they immediately changed their minds. Thus, they couldn't wait to find Lin Xian. Young Lord Lin, I heard from Chiu that you gave her a cup of spiritual tea. May I know what kind of spiritual tea it is? Shen Lingchuan was very curious. You're being too polite. Chiu and I are good friends, so you should just call me Lin Xian. Young Lord, or whatever sounds a little distant. Alright then, I'll call you Nephew Lin. You don't have to call me Patriarch Shen. How about Uncle Shen? Shen Lingchuan smiled. Alright Uncle Shen. I obtained this spiritual herb in the Hidden Sky secret realm. It's called the Immortal Tea. It can heal all injuries. If you consume it all year round, it has the effect of retaining your youthful appearance. Just nice, I brought a pot today. Uncle Shen and Auntie Shen, please have a taste. With that, Lin Xian flipped his palm and took out the pot of immortal tea. He poured a cup for everyone. As soon as the spiritual tea was served, an extremely fragrant aura gushed out and filled the entire room. Even without drinking, just smelling it made one feel refreshed. This, Shen Lingchuan and his wife looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. One had to know that they held high positions and were extremely important figures in the Shen family. Thus, they had seen many treasures. However, they had never seen anything like the immortal tea. Thus, the two of them could not wait to take a sip. Soon, the two of them were shocked because they felt a mysterious energy circulating in their bodies. Good stuff, it's really good stuff. No wonder it can cure Chiu-er's illness. Shen Lingchuan was very excited. Nephew Lin, do you have any more of this spiritual herb? I would like to buy some. It was extremely precious to be able to cure an illness that even kings could not. Thus, Shen Lingchuan wanted to buy some from Lin Xian in case he needed it. Don't worry, I won't mistreat you in terms of price. Furthermore, I will support you in the matter of the palace of Ares. Lin Xian had cured their daughter. He was their family's benefactor. Thus, Shen Lingchuan did not hesitate to express his attitude. Thank you, Uncle Shen. Lin Xian was overjoyed. It seemed like he had completed half of his goal. At least he had obtained Shen Lingchuan's support. However, there was still the other half that he had to complete. Uncle Shen, it's not that I don't want to sell it to you, but I still have a use for the immortal tea, Lin Xian said. Speaking of which, I still need your help with something. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.